A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Presenting Orson Welles as the Third Man. The Lives of Harry Lime. The fabulous stories of the immortal character, originally created in the motion picture The Third Man, with zither music by Anton Karas.
That was the shot that killed Harry Lime. He died in a sewer beneath Vienna. As those of you know who saw the movie The Third Man. Yes, that was the end of Harry Lime. But it was not the beginning. Harry Lime had many lives. And I can recount all of them. How do I know? Very simple. Because my name is Harry Lime. Don't get me wrong, I love Budapest. From Budapest come goulashes and shardashes. Shardashes being something you dance and goulash being something you eat if you go for all that paprika. Me, I love it. So, when I got that telegram, I took the first train to Hungary. Maybe I better tell you about the telegram first. Dear Mr. Lime, it said, my bank is going to be robbed and I need your help. It was signed Fekete, evidently a man's name, nobody I knew. I knew all about bank robberies, however, and I was dying to help. Besides, as I say, I love paprika. So I started packing right away.
And now, Orson Welles as Harry Lime, the Third Man, in today's story, Too Many Crooks.
Before calling at the bank, I started a cute little flower shop I happened to notice across the way. Good morning. Would you give me something for my buttonhole? Why, Lily. Lily, what are you doing here?
We have some very pretty pink gardenias.
Oh, come on, Lily. Don't tell me you don't remember me. And how are all the Corellis?
The who?
Don't give me that, Lily.
My name is Lulu.
Well, it used to be Lily, and you used to be a blonde. And the Corellis, as you know perfectly well, because you used to work for them, are the best bank robbers in Central Europe. Well, what about it, honey?
Here are your gardenias, Harry. Now get out of here.
Okay, honey, okay. No need to get in a hassle.
I'm telling you, Harry, get out.
I never was one to argue, so I took my gardenia across the street and wore it into the bank.
Mr. Fekete will see Mr. Harry Lime.
You can go in now, Mr. Lime.
Oh, thank you.
Mr. Fekete will see you.
Yes, that's what I gathered.
This way, please. And,
thank you.
Oh, Mr. Lime,
Yes.
will you please extinguish your cigarette? Mr. Fekete does not approve of smoking.
Thanks. I'll bear that in mind.
Mr. Lime.
Come in and shut the door. There's a date.
Do you mind if I sit down, Mr. Fekete, or is there a rule against that?
Sit down. You're a very impertinent young man, but I don't mind that. I'm an impertinent older man. We ought to get along together very nicely.
What's your proposition, Mr. Feckerty?
Yeah. What do you mean?
That's what I said. What's your proposition?
Listen to me, Lime. I don't make propositions. I consider them.
Have it your own way, Feckerty. I'm a big boy now, and I'm not so easily impressed.
What do you mean, impressed?
All this big desk, double secretary, Mr. Feckerty will see you now. Mr. Feckerty doesn't approve of smoking, busy executive hoopla. May go down very well with the bumpkins who give you their money to invest. It doesn't mean a thing to me. You sent for me, didn't you? I crossed 3 national borders to get here and lost a lot of time, so don't ask me what's my proposition. What's yours, Mr. Feckerty?
Very good indeed. You're just the man I hoped you were. Have a cigar.
Wouldn't that be breaking the rules?
I make the rules, Mr. Lime, and I don't like cheap tobacco smoke. Now, do I enjoy being forced to distribute these very costly, custom-made Havanas to every, what is it you call them, bumpkin, who comes into my office. I think you'll enjoy these.
Thanks.
Right?
Thanks.
Good. Now that we're a little more at ease, suppose you tell me something about yourself.
Why?
What do you mean, why?
I wish you'd stop asking me what I mean by everything I say, Feckerty. I said why, and I meant why. You put private detectives on my trail. You found me. You made me a very substantial down payment on services to be rendered. And now, when I get here, you want me to tell you about myself. That's just plain silly, old man. It's obvious that if you went to all that trouble and expense to get me here, you knew about me already. I'm the one to ask the questions, not you.
Better and better. Mr. Lime, if you were just a little less notorious as a crook, I'd offer you a vice presidency in my bank.
I forgive the insult, Mr. Feckerty.
What do you mean, insult?
You go asking me what I mean again. I meant insult.
Now, don't you get pompous on me, Lime. You are a crook, a world-famous one. You don't want to deny that.
What I don't want is very simple, Mr. Feckerty. I don't want to be a vice president of your bank.
Huh? Oh, I follow you now. Don't worry, Lime.
Right.
I promised you $20,000.
That's right.
Oh, it's equivalent to Hungarian pesos.
Oh, wait a minute.
And you'll get it without having to serve as an officer of this
You
bank.
promised me $20,000, old man. There weren't any gimmicks in the agreement about the joke money you folks pass off on each other locally. I know. I carry my own microscope for reading the fine type.
Very well. $20,000 it is. Don't you want to know what I expect you to do for it?
Mr. Feckerty, you keep making me repeat myself. I told you before that I'm a big boy now. If you're giving me $20,000, I can relax, not worry about asking you silly questions. You're going to get around eventually to telling me what you expect me to do for it.
Did you ever hear of a bank giving a reward?
Yes, but only after a bank robbery.
Exactly. Exactly. Only after a bank has been robbed. I'm reversing the procedure line. I'm giving the reward first.
Oh, so that's the little caper, is it? You want me to rob your bank for you?
Oh, not at all. A reward is usually given for apprehending the thieves who have robbed the bank. What I want you to do, Harry, I may call you Harry?
Certainly, old man. Call me Harry if it gives you any fun.
Well, Harry, what I want you to do is to apprehend the robbers before the robbery is committed. Very clever, don't you think so? Have another cigar.
In my business, I may get in the way of an awful lot of screwy deals, but I can tell you that never in a long career have I been offered in complete seriousness a loopier proposition than Mr. Feckerty's. Seems the key to the whole affair was Mr. Feckerty's junior officer in the bank, a certain Mr. Fodor.
Ladislaus Fodor is the full name, Harry. He's one of our vice presidents.
I see.
I tell you this right now, the man is an unprincipled criminal.
Oh?
Come here, and I'll show him to you. Come this way. You can see him through the glass panel.
Yes.
There he is.
Oh, that one.
Second desk to the right. There. With all those silly hairs pasted over his bald head. That's the man.
He doesn't look very dangerous to me.
Fodor? Dangerous? He has the brain of a backward bird and the charm of a worm. Now that I look back on it, I can't imagine how I ever persuaded myself to be jealous of him.
Jealous? I don't follow you, old man.
If I have a fault, Harry, it is this. I do tend to be jealous. Lulu often chides me about it, and I have promised to curb the instinct, but there, it is a part of my character.
Lulu? You mean the girl in the flower shop across the way, that Lulu?
She is the only Lulu I know, Mr. Lyon. How does it happen that you are acquainted with her?
You see this carnation?
I see it, yes.
Lulu sold it to me, overcharged me, scandalously, as a matter of fact.
Well, Lulu is a working girl. She must live. How does it happen you know her?
What makes you think I do?
You know her name?
Oh, one of the other customers called her that while I was still in the shop. As it happens, it was this little fellow you just pointed out to me over there, the Vice President, Fodor.
Third Vice President.
I hate to keep harping on these commercial matters, Feckerty, old man, but just how does my $20,000 reward come into the picture?
Let us retire to my inner office, Harry. I never tell you.
Okay,
Come.
old man.
Sit down, please, Harry. Have another cigar.
My pockets are bulging with cigars now, old man. Let's concentrate on the $20,000.
Certainly. Oh, Miss Carver. Miss Carver.
Yes, Mr. Feckerty?
No matter who calls, don't disturb me, not on any account. I'm having an important conference.
Yes, Mr. Beckerty.
Oh, jealousy, Harry. Jealousy is a terrible
Yes,
thing.
yes, certainly is. Now, about this reward.
Jealousy is the green-eyed monster who doth mock the meat it feeds on. That's how the poet Shakespeare expresses
the
it.
poet Shakespeare said a mouthful, and now...
But still, if it had not been for jealousy, I would never have followed this photo into Lulu's shop. And if I hadn't done that, I would never have discovered the digging.
Digging? What digging?
What would you say, Harry, if I were to tell you that running under the street from Lulu's flower shop to this bank, there is a tunnel?
A tunnel?
What would you say if I told you that?
Well, I'd say, well, what do you know? That's what I'd say.
That's what I said when I found out about it. And that's why I say now that I must never forget to be grateful to jealousy, particularly since I've discovered that there's nothing between Lolo and Fodo, or nothing serious.
And do you know what I'd say to that?
No.
A couple of rude words.
Yeah, but why?
Why? You find them scrabbling away together like a couple of chubby moles, digging away in the general direction of your bank vault, and you say there's nothing serious between them?
There isn't, I'm sure of that. I have Lulu's word. And besides, what could she possibly see in a fat little nonentity like Fodo? No, the only one who thinks it's serious is Fodo. That's the whole point. Fodo is a dupe, a mere cat's paw in the conspiracy.
Oh, yes? And who's the mastermind?
I am.
Uh-huh. And what does Fodo think about that?
He languishes in ignorance. He knows nothing. And to think that he aspires, he dares to aspire to my position in the bank.
And how does Lulu fit in?
I must tell you that Lulu has given me some reason to hope that she will someday make me the happiest man in the world.
And how would she do that? By giving up Fodo or sending you a big bouquet of roses? Let's get down to cases, old man. Wedding bells can ring out from Voodoo to Pest and back again, but I won't be there to throw any rice unless I get paid. What is it exactly you want from me? Lessons on how to help Fodo and Lulu rob your bank?
Fodo's going to do the robbing. And besides, it isn't my bank. I'm only a salary
And
officer.
then Fodo gives you the money to give to Lulu. Is that
Certainly
it?
not. Certainly not. That would be silly.
That's just what I was thinking.
No. Every day, Fodo is supposed to take the paper money from the various cages and place it in the vault.
Yeah?
This is his responsibility.
Yeah.
Tonight, however, he will not do this. He will leave the money outside the vault, hidden in a large filing cabinet. Oh, the entire plan has been carefully worked out, I can assure you.
All I can say is this Fodo of yours is a very cooperative type of cat's boy.
Don't call him this Fodo of yours. He isn't. He's no Fodo of mine.
Have it your own way, old man. What comes next? You, I suppose, huh? You come a half hour later with a dark lantern and a gunny sack. You wrap up the money, join Lulu, who's been waiting for you across the street in the flower shop, and the two of you, hand in hand, move off down the road into the sunrise and also into the very choicest Hungarian hoosegow.
What is a hoosegow?
A jail or prison, a place of forcible incarceration, a lockup for bad little bank robbers.
Not at all, not at all. It is Fodo who goes to prison.
Oh, yes? And how do you work that?
That is one of the things I want you to arrange.
Oh, I see. I'm going to have to earn in that $20,000. I think we'll start by having it deposited in my name and in somebody else's bank, old man.
Why now? And why another bank?
Well, every bank in Budapest isn't going to be robbed tonight, so I think I'd prefer one of the others. And I'll take it now because I know you wouldn't want me to go to the police with what is, after all, a fairly sordid little story.
Police, but that's blackmail.
Oh, watch your language, old man. Blackmail's a nasty word. You know, all I want is protection for my poor little $20,000. I'll give you service for it, too, but I want to be absolutely positive that you're ready to meet your payroll.
Very well. You'll have your money, but you will help me.
I'm going to need a few more solid facts, old man.
Well, it all began with this insane jealousy of mine for Fodo.
Oh, yeah?
I took to following him. He used to go into Lulu's flower shop at night long after it was closed. And one time he left the shutter unfastened and I went in. There were no lights in the shop itself, but I could hear voices from the basement below. I opened the trap door very carefully so as not to be heard. And what do you think I saw?
You saw Lulu, Fodo, and 3 men all hard at work digging a tunnel.
Yeah. How did you know?
I didn't, I guess. After all, you told me there was a tunnel.
But the 3 men, how did you know about them?
I'm still guessing. It's pretty obvious that Mr. Fodo and Lulu couldn't dig much of a hole without getting some help. Tell me this. It was Lulu who persuaded you to call me in on this deal, wasn't it?
How did you know that?
Still just guessing, old man, just guessing. Now, let me guess on for a minute and stop me when I'm wrong. When you saw what Lulu and Fodo were doing, you went home and brooded for a while, and a few days afterwards you confronted her.
It was the next day.
Oh, okay, it was the next day. And Lulu admitted she was planning to rob the bank, but said she was just using Fodo, and you were the only one she really cared about. And if you joined the party, it's you she'd run off with, leaving Mr. Fodo holding the bag. An empty bag. How am I doing?
Oh, you're a clever man.
Sure I am. That's why Lulu had you send for me.
You see, the idea is that Fodo will hide the money outside the vault and leave. Then, according to the arrangement, as he understands it, Lulu will come through the tunnel at night with her helpers and take the money back under the street through the tunnel.
Who did she tell Foda these helpers were?
She said one of them is her brother and the other two are cousins.
And what did she tell you?
That's what she told me. Why?
Nothing, old man. Not at all. Just give me one more guess,
Oh, go ahead.
After Foda leaves the money, what you do is crawl back through the tunnel with a sack of currency clenched in your teeth. But no, that wouldn't make any sense, would it? You'd run into a couple of brothers crawling in the opposite direction.
I'm not to have anything to do with the tunnel. You see, Fodor leaves the money out just before closing time. That way, he's implicated, and we have a scapegoat. So there's nothing to stop me from letting myself in with my key at night and walking away with the money. Who could suspect me? It's a perfect crime, Harry. Wouldn't you say so?
Yes, it's quite a crime if you look at it in one way. But tell me about the brothers. What are they supposed to think about all this?
Oh, they don't know about it. Lulu hasn't told them.
But the news will reach them eventually, and what then?
They must be implicated somehow, along with Fodor. But I must be protected, and Lulu. That's what you're here for, Harry. Have another cigar.
Orson Welles returns in just a moment as the third man. And now, Orson Welles as the third man continues with today's story, Too Many Crooks.
Naturally, the first thing I did after making my farewells to Mr. Feckerty was to go across the street and pay a call on Lulu.
Harry,
Yeah?
listen to me carefully.
I'm listening, honey.
There's a little cafe on the hill above the old city. You know the place? There's a gold rooster on the roof.
Well, what about it?
Go there and wait for me. You never can tell when Fodor or Feckerty will be bursting in here. They keep jumping across the street to check up on each other and buying geraniums. Go to the cafe and I'll be with you as soon as I can close up
What
here.
about the boys below?
Oh, what do you mean?
The construction crew, the Corellis.
Oh, Feckerty told you about the
I
Corellis?
would have found out anyway, Lily.
Lulu.
Okay, what happens to them if you shut up the store? Isn't there a way out?
No, but they won't be finished work before I'm back. And besides, what they don't know won't hurt them.
Lily, or rather Lulu, it looks to me as though just about everybody around here is due to be hurt by what they don't know. I found the Gold Rooster and sat down on the terrace of the restaurant to wait for Mr. Feckerty's fiancée. Over a glass of Tokay, I tried to add up the situation as of then. As far as I could see, the whole setup was like a Picasso painting. No matter how you looked at it, it was cockeyed and upside down.
Hello, Harry. Don't want anything from
Hi.
me. I haven't time.
Don't worry, Lily. I'm not here to celebrate. We can have our party after I know who's going to pay the check.
I wish you'd call me Lulu.
Okay, Lulu. Now, here's all the sense I can make out of this little caper. You came here with a Corelli gang,
No,
right?
they came first. Then they sent for me to work in the flower shop for a front. The tunnel was their idea.
Then you sent for me. That was your idea.
Right.
Foda thinks he's going to divvy up with the Corellis and marry you on the proceeds.
Something like
And
that.
Feckerty thinks something like the same something. The president thinks he's going to put it over the vice president. What about the construction crew?
You mean Walter and the
Yes,
others?
the Corellis, the original burglars. What are they going to get out of this? According to Feckerty, it's going to be the old double-cross. But if I know you, Feckerty's in for the same gentle treatment.
Harry, why should anybody get anything out of this except...
Okay, Lily, okay. Book a couple of spaces for us on the first milk train out of Budapest, but be sure to get reservations on the bulletproof car.
I wish you'd call me Lulu.
Time marches on. A lot of trusting Hungarian depositors line up at the bank, leave their hard-earned pengos at the impressive-looking gilt cages for what they fondly believe is safekeeping, and hurry home to have their evening plate of goulash. Closing time comes and goes. Feckerty doesn't leave. He just pretends to and stays skulking in his office. Meanwhile, Fodor takes the big packages of pengos, which, as you know, is Hungarian for money, dutifully to the door of the vault. He slams the vault loudly, this being for the benefit of the janitor, who is deaf anyway and doesn't hear, and quickly stows the loot in the empty filing cabinet which he has thoughtfully left nearby for just this purpose. He then goes home and passes a very restless night. The moon rises over the city and winks at its own reflection in the Danube. A lot of good Hungarians are in their beds. The others are all in a nightclub called the Arizona, dancing the Shardash. They do not come into this story, so we'll leave them dancing. Down onto the street, the Corellis, those adept bank robbers, continue to dig. They are putting the finishing touches on their tunnel, and we will not listen in on them because their conversation is very vulgar indeed. In his luxurious office, Mr. Feckerty sits biting his nails and dreaming of a long West Indian cruise with Lulu in an adjoining deck chair. As the gang in the tunnel understand it, when the clock strikes 12, they are to open the secret trap door which they have previously prepared inside the bank, a section of tiling near the vault, go to the filing cabinet and take out the money which Porter has left there, thus eliminating the noise and inconvenience of breaking into the vault, and, first closing the loose tile after themselves, scuttle back with the loot under the street into the flower shop, out into the night, and as far away from Hungary as possible. As I say, that's the way the gang in the tunnel understand it. This is also the arrangement as Mr. Fodor understands it, with a trifling difference, that he expects Lulu to stop by for him with his share of the profits. Like Mr. Feckerty, he is biting his nails and dreaming of tropical cruises. And what of Lulu? What of Lulu indeed? It is Lulu's little plan to foozle everybody, Corelli, Fodor, and Feckerty. She's led them all on to just this point. It is the point of departure. Lulu's departure. Lulu and all those neatly wrapped packages of pingos. The trouble is, it's all just a little bit too much for one little girl to handle alone, so Harry Lime's been sent for. Harry is supposed to assist at the general foozling of one and all, and then, in due time, of course, he's to be foozled as well. Lulu will send Harry off to mail a postcard, and when he gets back, Lulu will have continued her travels alone, with nothing to keep her company but the loot. That, as I say, is the way Lulu understands it. The clock, high in the steeple of San Stefano, strikes 12. This is the signal. Mr. Corelli, that celebrated expert, with his two able assistants, starts toward the bank. The tunnel was not built for comfort, and the going on hands and feet is a trifle rough. There's a bit of genteel cursing, but hearts are high. At the sound of the clock, Mr. Feckerty removes the bound bundles of money from their place of safety and checks once again the bolts and fastenings which keep the loose tile in its place. In the darkness, Mr. Feckerty smiles. He is satisfied that, contrary to the Corelli's expectations, the bank end of the tunnel is firmly and irrevocably closed. Still smiling, he starts toting the money toward the side door for which he, Mr. Feckerty, is the perfectly legal possessor of a key. On the outside, Lulu, with a high-speed car, is supposed to be waiting for him. Unfortunately, however, a moment earlier, Harry Lime, on the flower shop end of the tunnel, has persuaded Lulu to go down for a moment and tell the boys not to try lifting that trick tile for at least a half hour. Lulu hates herself now for not having analyzed the merits of this suggestion. She has plenty of time now to think this over because foxy old Harry in the flower shop has bolted down the trap door. The clock has stopped striking, of course, and Mr. Feckerty pops out of his bank looking for all the world like a jolly Christmas shopper with his arms loaded with bundles. There is a high-speed car waiting for Mr. Feckerty, all right, but it is full of strange gentlemen, and they are all dressed in uniforms.
Put up your hands, Feckerty. Put up your hands. You're under arrest.
But there's some mistake.
Oh, not at all, old man. No mistake at all. You see, gentlemen, just as you were told, there he is, and there's the money.
Come along now, Feckerty. We are taking you in.
You, Harry, a police informer.
Not a bit of it, old man. I wouldn't dream of telling on you. No, the cops got the tip-off from an anonymous letter, and you know how you spell anonymous? L-U-L-U.
Lulu. She did it.
Lulu. That wouldn't be Lulu Hartz, would it? Alias Lily the Twister.
Yes, officer, I believe so. There's a reward offered for her capture, isn't there?
I should say there is.
What about the Corelli gang?
They've got the biggest price on their heads in Central Europe.
Oh, that's lovely. It's all beginning to add up. When you throw in the generous reward Mr. Feckerty posted in the name of his bank this afternoon.
But you're not going to collect that, are you?
Why not, old man? After all, you put up the money for me to collect before the bank was robbed, didn't you? You also wanted me to thwart the Corellis, and if you yourself are foolish enough to go breaking the law, you'll just have to tell it to the judge.
I'll tell him plenty. I'll tell him about you.
Go ahead. I haven't broken any laws, remember, and you'll only help me collect my various rewards.
Matter of fact, Lime, just What is your connection with this affair? What have you done?
Officer, all I did was turn a bolt on a trap door. Nothing at all, really, just a twist to the wrist. And now if you've got some spare handcuffs ready, I think we better open it up again. The folks down below may be getting a little fretful, and I think they'll appreciate a change of scene. If you'll come with me, officer, I'll show you the place.
Really, Mr. Lime, I can't tell you how grateful...
Please, old man, don't mention it. Pleasure, I assure you. Won't you have a cigar?
Returns in just a moment. And now, Harry Lime.
You know, friends, I had thought of substituting those fat packages of pengos for the same weight of old newspapers. But the rate of exchange wasn't so good on the pengo just then, so I resisted the temptation. After all, as Mother always said, too many crooks spoil the goulash.
Presenting Orson Welles as the third man. The Lives of Harry Lime, The fabulous stories of the immortal character originally created in the motion picture The Third Man, with zither music by Anton Karas.
That was the shot that killed Harry Lime. He died in a sewer beneath Vienna. As those of you know who saw the movie The Third Man. Yes, that was the end of Harry Lime. But it was not the beginning. Harry Lime had many lives. And I can recount all of them. How do I know? Very simple. Because my name is Harry Lime.
And now, Orson Welles as Harry Lime, the third man in See Naples and Live.
Once upon a time, there was an exquisite and huge emerald locket which spent most of its life looking out of the world from the rather fleshy neck of a Mrs. Donaldson as she waddled like a golden duck across the international social horizon. I had a rather strong desire to change the habitat of this particular locket from the neck of this particular lady to my own particular itching palm. It was Naples before the war.
Enter. You kept me impatient for an hour, Mr. Lime.
I'm sorry, Signor Rubio. I just flew in from London, forgot to move my watch ahead.
It is my knowledge that you have been in Naples for 3 days now, but it does not matter. I am a man with a skill for waiting.
I'm going to be very brief. I won't waste any more of your time, old man.
Bueno. But first I must tell you that I have made all the arrangements to dispose of the Donaldson Emerald.
Oh, yes?
As soon as we possess it,
There's a small item I forgot to tell you about, Signor Rubio. I have decided to include you out.
I do not think I understand.
To be brief and simple, I have decided to dissolve our partnership, old man.
Oh, you're disposing of me?
Perhaps that's a nicer way of saying it.
I do not prefer to be disposed.
Naturally, you don't, but sometimes we get disposed whether we like it or not.
Mr. Lime, we began this enterprise together, and I think we shall finish it together.
You have never been more in error, old man. Now, you must forgive me for running off.
A moment, Mr. Lime.
Yes?
You recall Carlos?
I do.
And that young man from Innsbruck, I forget his name.
You mean Mannheimer?
Yes, if it were possible, they would be very sorry you were rude to me.
I'm now the most well-threatened man in Europe, and you have joined an innumerable caravan. Arrivederci.
Don't farewell me yet, Mr. Lime.
Sorry, but I really must.
Do not force me to shoot you. If you take one more step toward the door, I will fire.
Now, don't be a complete fool, old man. If they found a dead man in your room, they'd hang you.
I will be easy with you. Just tell me where Mrs. Donaldson is, and I will forgive you your ungratefulness.
Rubio, I'm on my way out. If you fire that gun, the police will be here before you can get out of the hotel. Buongiorno.
There's a saying in this city, see Naples and die.
It only proves that life is very short and uncertain for us all. Goodbye, old man. Believe me, I am not a professional hero. I was not at all concerned about Signor Rubio putting a bullet in me, not in his hotel room. I hurried to the pier where the Arcturus was about to dock. She was carrying precious freight, Mrs. Donaldson. I already made arrangements for one of the customs officials to hold Mrs. Donaldson up on a pretext of going through her luggage. A few thousand liras did the trick.
Oh, you stubborn man. I tell you there's nothing contraband in my luggage. You've already gone through my clothes twice with your dirty hands. Amy, talk to this man. He doesn't understand a word of English. My Italian is worse than his English.
Per incresce tanto, signora, ma è necessario. Ho istruzione di esaminare il vostro bagaglio. Deve aver pazienza.
What seems to be the trouble here?
Thank heavens, an American. I have no idea why this idiotic official is rummaging through my clothes.
That's the matter for me,
You think I was a smuggler or something. I've been to Naples many times, and there's never been this ridiculous fuss. I'll talk to the American consul. See to it that this man loses his job. I wonder if you could talk to him. That is, if you can speak Italian.
Of course, I'd be only too happy to. Let me see what I can do. Che cosa succede qui?
È di regola di esaminare ogni 25 passeggeri.
No, questo non è necessario, conosco il signore. Questa è la mia carta.
Ah, signore, mi rincresce tanto di aver dato alla signora tutto questo disturbo.
No, veramente. It's all right now, you're cleared. Here, let me help your bags,
Thank you ever so much. I don't know what I would have done without you. Amy, get one of those porters to help us with the luggage.
Yes, Mrs. Donald.
I have my car here. I'll be glad to give you a lift to your hotel.
Oh, I wouldn't want you to bother.
Oh, no bother at all. One fellow American to another, you know.
Thank you. These taxi drivers rob you mercilessly.
Oh, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. My name is Lime. Harold Lime.
I'm Mrs. Frederica Donaldson. I'm so glad we ran into you. A wonderful piece of luck.
Well, let's say we're well met. Loveliness was gracing my car. Loveliness in the form of the emerald locket around Mrs. Donaldson's neck, and loveliness in the form of Amy Collins. She was Mrs. Donaldson's hired companion. She had red hair and eyes to match the emerald, and she liked me. I think she liked me. Every so often I'd catch her eye. And she'd turn away, as if she were guilty of something.
Really, Mr. Lamb, I've never been so humiliated. Just standing there with that man poking away at my underthings, messing up all my clothes. Absolutely no regard for our feelings. Something should be done about this.
He was only following instructions. I don't think he
And doing anything of the sort, he was just being malicious and perverse. If it weren't for Mr. Lime, I don't know what would have happened. We're deeply indebted to him.
Oh, you don't owe me anything at all. I did what any other American would have done, Mrs. Donaldson.
I wish we could repay you for your kindness.
Well, you know, I think maybe you can.
Wonderful. Just tell us what it is.
Well, I've got to buy my sister a gift. It's her birthday. I don't know too much about jewelry, so I wonder if either of you could come along and help me shop.
Of course we can. Amy does most of my shopping for me. She's very good at it.
That's wonderful.
I'm sure she'd be delighted to help you.
Don't you want me to help you get your things unpacked?
I'm already unpacked, thanks to that customs official. No, you go ahead. Just drop me at the hotel.
You don't mind, do you, Miss Collins?
Oh, no, not at all.
Good. It's a relief. Now, I'd like both of you to be my guests at dinner tonight.
That's very kind of you. We'd be delighted.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Mrs. Donaldson. Really, it's my pleasure. We deposited fat Mrs. Donaldson in her room, and then Amy and I went shopping. I took her along to the Corso Vittorio Emanuele, one of Naples' better thoroughfares.
What are you looking for, Mr. Lime?
Please, call me Harry.
All right.
Can I call you Amy?
If you wish.
You don't sound very enthusiastic.
Please call me Amy.
That's much better.
What do you want to buy for your sister?
Some nice jewelry, a necklace or a locket, something like that. Mrs. Donaldson was wearing something pretty, something like that.
You don't know much about jewelry, do you?
Well, I know what I like. Most of the time, the things I like you can find in a dime store.
You won't find Mrs. Donaldson's locket in a dime store. It costs about $20,000.
$20,000? You're kidding.
No, that's a real emerald she has set in the locket.
Well, she must be crazy traveling with a thing like that flashing on her neck.
Oh, well, it's not very wise, but she's very sentimental about it. Her husband gave it to her just before he died. She swore to wear it every day of her life. She was very devoted to him.
Well, I suppose you think I'm pretty much of a chump about jewelry.
You have good taste.
I also have good luck meeting you.
Life is very strange, isn't it?
You know why?
Well, just half an hour ago, you and I were total strangers. Now here I am helping you buy a gift as if we'd known each other for a long time.
Well, there's nothing wrong in that, is there?
No, it's... Just at the moment you entered the scene, things seemed to move fast and efficiently.
You make it sound as if it were a force.
Oh, I didn't mean it that way.
I can go away and come back again and do it more slowly.
I suppose I sound foolish.
Perhaps it's because you like me too soon.
Well,
I liked you too soon.
Well...
That's probably too fast for you, too. But you see, I'm a man who says what's on his mind. It's probably not a very efficient way of talking to a gentle soul like you.
Oh, no, I prefer straightforward people.
All right, now, you be straightforward. What was your first reaction to me when you first saw me?
I was interested. Perhaps, maybe intrigued.
That's better.
You have a way of condensing relationships quickly.
Well, if people like each other, they don't need a calendar full of time to tell them about it.
Good things grow slowly. Here's a shop.
Well, they all look pretty. That filigree pin. I like that. It's very nice.
Which one?
The one near the large cameo.
Oh, yes, it is very pretty. Shall we go in?
Wait. Let's look at the other things in the window.
I'm begging your pardon. I heard you conversing English.
We were talking American, a totally different language.
I am trying to reach Via Salvatore Rosa. Could you inform me how to get there?
Sure, man. Turn right the next corner and go straight for 3 squares.
Oh, I'm much grateful.
That's right, all right.
Would you like to... you like a cigarette?
No, thank you very much. Just turn right at the next corner.
Oh, I'm unhappy to trouble you further,
Oh,
but do you have a match?
I'm sorry, but I don't have any matches with me.
I have a light.
Mademoiselle is most generous. 1,000 thanks.
Turn right at the next corner.
And 3 squares
And
down,
3 squares down.
Good day to you all.
Good
Perhaps
day.
we will meet again, eh? Good day.
He seemed most reluctant to leave.
Yeah. An odd fellow.
Why did you refuse to give him a
I
light?
didn't like his face.
Did you ever see him before?
Why do you ask that?
He acted as if he knew you.
Well, I didn't care to know him.
I think you gave him the wrong direction.
Well, it could be.
It seems that if he followed your directions, he would find himself in the Bay of Naples.
I'm sure it won't dampen his spirits. Shall we go in now?
Yes, of course. There's just one thing I'd like to ask you.
I'll answer anything you want.
What do you do for a living?
For a living? Oh, I'm a dealer in objets d'art. I wander through the world, collecting the best things.
Sounds very interesting.
It is. It's often quite exciting. Now, let's go in and buy that filigree pin.
Orson Welles returns in just a moment as the third man. Now, Orson Welles as Harry Lime, the third man in See Naples and Live.
I bought a pin for 2,500 lira. On the way back to Amy's hotel, she was thoughtful and not much inclined to do any talking. I took her by the hand. She didn't object to that, but she didn't react to the touch. Put it simply, she just let me hold her hand, nothing more. I suspected that Signor Rubio had made too strong an impression. It's essential now that I work fast. The emerald would have to be in my pocket tonight or not at all. However, I wasn't worried about Rubio. Strange enough, it was Amy. Bothered me. I was beginning to be a little too fond of her. And that was bad. I always make it a point not to be too fond of anyone in this world.
This is a lovely romantic restaurant.
I'm glad you like it.
How did you discover it, Mr. Lyon?
You just ask the porter in the hotel. They know everything in Italy. The portiers are the best informed people in the country.
Isn't it delightful?
I'm glad.
Don't you think so, Amy?
Yes, I do. It's charming.
Won't you have some more spumante?
Well, just a drop. I declare, it's like champagne.
Yes, it's the Italian version.
It's so kind of you to give so much time to us, Mr. Lyon. Really, it is. Amy, isn't Mr. Lyon just a dear?
I think he's most generous.
Oh, I'm having such a delicious time. I feel so happy. Happier than I've been since... I wish poor Benjamin were here with us. You would have liked him, Mr. Lyon.
I'm sure I would.
Poor
Oh,
Benjamin.
no, Mrs. Donaldson. Let's not be sad. Here. Just have a little more spumante.
Oh, I really don't think we should. I'm afraid you're going to make us all drunk, Mr. Lyon.
Oh, Amy, I don't think another drop will hurt us. After all...
By this time, Mrs. Donaldson was becoming thoroughly relaxed. It's Spumante is a fine relaxer. I stirred the champagne with a wooden swizzle sticks, the bottom of which was well laced with phenobarbital. My keynote for the evening, as you can see, was relaxation. Before the evening was over, my emeralded guest was going to be the most relaxed woman in all Italy. The Spumante bubbled and frothed over as I stirred it.
I know I shouldn't have another glass, but
Perhaps you had better stop, Mrs. Donald.
never. I just feel so wonderful.
How about you, Amy?
All right.
A toast to us. May we always be as happy as we are now.
A toast to you, Mr. Lime. You wonderful, wonderful man.
I patted her neck. I wanted her to get used to the touch of my hand against her neck. She withdrew a little. Her neck had become super sensitive about the locket. As we drank, I studied the clasp on the locket. It was a simple device. You turned a tiny wheel, and it released the catch. Just a twist of the wrist.
The musicians are going to play again.
Cameriere, cameriere.
Please, Mr. Lime, no more spumante.
No, I have a special surprise.
Yes, signore?
Have the musicians come over here.
Yes, signore.
Oh, isn't that sweet?
That's a lovely gesture, Harry.
I thought you'd forgotten my first name.
Here they are, signore. What would you like them to play?
Well, what would you like, Mrs. Donaldson?
Oh, I can't think of a thing.
How about some Neapolitan songs?
Per favore, a monastere Santa Chiara. Canta per me. Very easy. They were completely at ease, and they trusted me. Amy stole her hand into mine as they played. It was really quite pleasant. I leaned back and relaxed.
That was just beautiful.
Very good. Thank you. Molto grazie. Here's something for the lads.
Oh, grazie, signore.
Did you enjoy it, Mrs. Donaldson?
They played divine.
I have a wonderful idea. How would you all like to go for a drive to Pompeii?
At this hour?
Yeah, it's only 10 o'clock. It's a full moon. It'd be quite a thrill.
I'd adore to go. Fascinating place. I've been there many times.
We have to see it at night.
Isn't it closed?
Of course it is. We can go in through the back way near the arena.
I'm willing if Mrs. Donaldson is.
Try and stop me. What a marvelous idea.
Just one thing.
What is it?
Amy told me about your emerald locket. I think it'd be safer if you left it at your hotel. In the safe at the hotel.
Don't you worry about it. I never take it off
No, but
my
really.
neck. Except when I retire. Don't worry about it. It's perfectly safe. Besides, we wouldn't find any criminals in Pompeii.
No, I'm sure not. But all the same, I'd feel better if you left the
Oh,
locket.
no, I can't do that. Please don't fret about it.
All right, if you're sure.
Let's go right now.
Just let me pay the bill. Cameriere?
Yes, signore.
Conto, per favore. Check.
Si, signore.
It was less than an hour's ride to the ancient, extinct city of Pompeii, lying like a corpse at the foot of its killer, Vesuvius. We entered through the gardens of an ancient home. The moon shone down hard and white, lighting up the empty city.
Isn't it thrilling?
Beautiful and frightening.
A chap by the name of Trebio Valenti used to live here. He hasn't been home for nearly 2,000 years. Here we are in Abbondanza Street. It's in perfect condition.
Isn't it exciting?
It's unbelievable.
Now, look at the gutter. You can see where the chariot wheels made deep ruts in the stone.
What a narrow
We can walk in the gutter. I don't think we'll be run over by any chariots tonight.
Where does this street lead to?
To the Forum.
What about those lovely buildings?
Oh, they're old mansions. Belong to a couple of rich fellows. See the sign on the wall?
What does it say?
Post no bills. In Latin.
And the sign alongside of it?
Down with such and such a tyrant. Time has worn away the name.
It's just amazing.
It's all beginning to make me feel faint.
Now, don't you feel well, Mrs. Donaldson?
I feel fine. Just sleepy. I don't know why I should feel sleepy when I'm so excited.
Don't you want to sit down?
Maybe I'd better.
We'll just rest for a moment.
I think we'd better go back.
We will, but first we'll let Mrs. Donaldson catch a few minutes' rest. There's a marble bench in the atrium of the Casa di Ceriali. He used to be an arrogant rich man who didn't like the strangers visiting his palatial home, but I don't think you'll mind now.
Oh, it's lovely in
Here we are. You sit down, Mrs. Donaldson, and rest your shoulder against mine. There you are.
You're darling, Mr. Lime.
Amy, if you walk into the other room to your right, you'll see some excellent frescoes. They're beautifully preserved.
May I have the flashlight?
Yes, here. Mrs. Donaldson was sleeping softly. I pressed my fingers against her neck to test her responses. There was no reaction. Tried it again so that even in her sleep she would feel no alarm, become accustomed to the feel of fingers around her throat. She slept peacefully on. I quickly unloosed the catch on her floor care, helped to slide the locket, picked it gently off her neck. At the same time, I held her hand, divert his sensation of touch. It was done quickly. I was ready to make my silent departure, gently propped her against a pillar. Then I heard a sound that froze me. Footsteps. Footsteps, and they weren't Amy's. Who's there?
Oh, what's the matter?
I caught a glimpse of him. It was one of the guards. There was only one thing to do, run. Silas Stabione, I turned the corner and ran into one of the old Roman baths. I made for one of the rooms, expecting it to have another exit. It was dark, and I fumbled around. I had a very unpleasant feeling when I became aware that the only way out was the way I came in. I reined back. It was too late. My pursuer was standing at the entrance with a flashlight in one hand and the gun in the other. It was not a guard. It was a Rubio.
You see, Harry, fate has thrown us together again.
It's still around her neck.
The locket, please.
I just told you.
I'm not in my hotel now. This time I will kill you. Give me the locket.
I'm not a usually reckless fellow, but this time I did a very rash thing. I rushed him. He fired. The bullet tore a hole in my shoulder, barely touching my skin. I wrestled with him. He fell on the marble floor. His wiring very strong. In a few seconds, it was clear that he was in far better shape than I. Then he hit me a very rude blow on the head with a gun. And I abandoned the fight. For a moment, I just lay there thinking what a very evil moment of my life this was.
No, the locket.
Okay.
Thank you. And now I think I will dispose of you for having caused me all this trouble.
Cerca il revolver, signore, altrimenti tiro.
That's the police, Rubio, old man. You're caught. Caught red-handed.
But the emerald...
It doesn't belong to you, old man. Better go along quietly with the police. Look, there's some more of them coming through the door. No use putting up a fight. Remember what I've always told you, old man. Crime doesn't pay.
I don't know how to thank you, Mr. Lyon. Risking your life to save my locket.
Oh, that's all right.
You're the most brave man to chase after him in the dark, unarmed.
I just gone to see where Amy was, and I heard the sound. There he was, deftly removing the locket from your neck.
I felt someone puttering around my neck, but I thought it was you.
Oh, really?
I was asleep, you know.
Yeah. Now, I had my suspicions about this Rubio from the first.
Does the wound hurt much?
Oh, it's nothing. It's a hole in my suit.
And a bird bump on your head. You poor boy.
It'll heal.
Amy, you haven't said a word to our hero since they arrested that Rubio man.
I'm just stunned.
Oh, I'm sorry we got you into this. I never should have taken you to Pompeii. It's all my fault.
Of course not. That terrible man would have tried to snatch the locket wherever I was. It's just a lucky thing I met up with you. I'm going to give you a gift. You just must take it. £100 note.
Oh, I wouldn't think of it.
You'd make me very happy if you took it.
Oh, no, I absolutely...
Please, Mr. Lyon, please.
Well, if it means so much to you, I'll give it to my favorite charity. Yeah. Well, here we are at the hotel, safe and sound.
Thanks to you. I must run upstairs. The whole thing is giving me a severe headache. You will call me in the morning, won't you, Mr. Lyon?
Indeed, I will, Mrs. Donaldson.
Good night.
Good night. Oh, Amy, can I have a word with you?
I'll be up in a moment, Mrs. Donaldson.
Of course, dear. Good night again. And bless you, Mr. Lyon.
I'm sorry about this evening, Amy.
So am I.
Let's meet for lunch tomorrow.
No, Harry.
Why not?
I never saw the frescoes on the wall.
You didn't?
No, I didn't find them, and I walked all the way around. I saw you from the front entrance.
Oh.
Besides, the man who deals in fine arts would know an emerald locket from a dime store trinket.
Yes. Should have thought of that.
I was beginning to like you very much, Harry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not the kind of man you'd like to begin to like a little more.
It's a pity.
You want to see me again, ever?
It'll never be any good.
Well, you might as well have the filigree pin.
What about your sister?
I haven't spoken to my sister in 10 years. She doesn't approve of me. Supposing I give it to you.
No, thanks.
You mean you wouldn't take it?
No, I couldn't.
Well, supposing if you didn't take it, I just threw it away.
Oh, but you shouldn't do that.
Oh, I won't. We were just supposing. Now, goodbye, Amy. There's no supposing about that, I suppose.
returns in just a moment. And now, Harry Lime.
As I walked to my hotel, I thought about L'Affaire Emerald. It cost me about $100 to bribe the custom official, the champagne, and the gold filigree pin. The reward left me with a profit of $270 plus a bump on the head and a hole in my suit. I'd lost the lovely green emerald and the lovely green eyes of Amy. The emerald didn't bother me too much, but Amy. Oh, Amy. She nearly interfered with the great romance of my life. My love for Harry Lime.
Presenting Orson Welles as the Third Man. The Lives of Harry Lime. The fabulous stories of the immortal character originally created in the motion picture The Third Man, with zither music by Anton Karas.
That was the shot that killed Harry Lime. He died in a sewer beneath Vienna. As those of you know who saw the movie, The Third Man. Yes, that was the end of Harry Lime. But it was not the beginning. Harry Lime had many lives. And I can recount all of them. How do I know? Very simple. Because my name is Harry Lime. Say what you will about Harry Lime, he at least was honest in his desire for money and the good things of life. Harry believed in seeing the world at other people's expense. Sometimes the cost ran high as a man's life. Let me tell you about it. I know what I'm talking about.
And now, Orson Welles as Harry Lime, the third man, in Play Pigeon.
1942, my fortunes being for the moment at ebb tide, it pleased me to return to America, to New York specifically, because I'd heard that an old and important enemy of mine was in difficulties and wished to see me. I went to the hotel where he was staying, supposedly incognito, and made myself available at the bar. But nothing happened. I ran up quite a bar bill and things were looking serious. So I ordered another drink. And then...
Mr. Lime. Mr. Harry Lime.
Yes, indeed.
I'm sorry to bother you.
Bother? If all bothersome things were as attractively packaged, I'd gladly be the most verdant of men. Won't you join me?
I didn't come here for that reason, Mr. Lime.
I know. It's a friendly gesture, and I have a hunch we're going to see a lot of each other. Now, since you know my name, why don't you tell me yours?
That's unimportant.
Well, it's a matter of opinion.
Will you please come with me?
Well, I say, now, isn't that approach a little bold? After all, an establishment like this frowns on such an obvious...
Please, Mr. Lime, come with me. You're the only one who can save him.
Me? Save anybody? You've come to the wrong Harry Lime, man.
Please, you must, even though you hate him.
Hate him? Now you interest me now. Just which antagonist do you mean? I've got an awful lot of enemies.
You're wasting time. He'll pay you a great deal of money.
Money?
You can name your own price.
The price of my hatred comes pretty high. But for money and hate, Lime goes anywhere. Lovely lady, lead on. Profitable business should be made as painless as possible, and this girl was a pleasure. The dark Irish type with eyes, the mood and color of the restless channel waters, and hair as blue-black as the proverbial raven's wing. I began to enjoy myself. My waiting game was going to pay off through an old enemy. It was a fine evening for cold mischief. We took the elevator in silence, walking down the corridor to the suite of my enemy. I studied my young guide. She caught my glance. Her color mounted. I smiled.
We're almost there.
I say, are you bringing me on a wild goose chase?
If it is, then it's the goose that lays the golden egg, Mr. Lime. And this is it.
You don't approve of me, do you?
Follow me, please.
I'd love to. You're just like the rest of the public, dear. You're always clamoring for high ideals, fair play, and always the first to indict without a hearing.
Yes?
I found him, sir.
To the contrary, I found you.
Please.
Well, come in, by all means.
The Honorable James Hadley, I believe.
Aren't you surprised to see me, Lime?
Not particularly. This morning when the wind from the East River brought with it the usual aroma of stale grease, ancient garbage, and sewer gas, I had an idea I might run into Governor Hadley before the day was out. Aren't you in the wrong state?
Still the same old Harry. Insulting, conniving.
And you're the man I'm supposed to help?
It's not by choice, believe me.
That I do believe, Governor. The dislike is mutual. Well, Governor, it's nice leaving you.
Wait, Lime. I'm offering you $15,000.
If?
Had I better leave, Governor?
No. You're responsible for bringing Lime here, Nora. Perhaps my only hope of keeping him here.
You're quite wrong, sir. There are 15,000 reasons holding me here for the time being. How long I remain depends on you. Talk.
I know how you hate me. I also know your capabilities, Lime. You're the only man to accomplish the job I have in mind. I've already told you what I'd pay. Lime, I'm begging you to help me.
That's good. You begging me for help. All right. Sing your sad song, Hadley, old man, about the beast you must feed.
You know.
Don't I always know, Governor? Knowing who was after your official scalp, I realized you'd undoubtedly come to me for help. Used one poison as the antidote for another. Made myself available. You found me.
You mean you knew it all the time, even downstairs you knew?
In general, dear Nora, though I neither knew the sordid details nor the price to be paid for my services.
Show him the pictures, Nora.
Yes, Captain. Right here in the briefcase. Here you are.
Thank you. Governor, I didn't think it even of you.
You see, Nora, even Lime believes the man in those cursed pictures is me.
It's very interesting. Who's the lady?
How should I know?
Oh, come on now, Governor. Official manners, or in this case even unofficial manners, demand that you at least know the name of your female companion. Has American etiquette deteriorated to the point that you summon such creatures with a, hey, you?
Mr. Lime, I'll have you know that Governor Hadley is not the man in those pictures.
And good little girls should never tell lies, Nora.
Oh, hang it all, she's telling the truth, Lime. I never frequent such clubs as those pictures show. And here, look at this one. You recognize a newcomer to the party.
Oh, yes, Cato. Cato, the robber baron. I admire his instincts, but not always his performance. He's a bit clumsy.
Truvis Cato. Gambler, ward heater, grafter.
Such dear, nostalgic words. You almost make me homesick, Governor.
Be sensible, Lime. Can you imagine me in such company at any time, particularly with an election coming up next month?
Not unless you're even more stupid than you used to be, James. But then everything is possible.
Really, Mr. Lime, this is the...
But cameras don't lie.
You, above anyone else, should know better than that, Lime. How many times have you faked a picture to gain your ends?
Touché, Governor, but then I always do things the hard way. You told Nora that yourself.
Yeah, hard for your victims. Oh, but this isn't getting us anyplace. No matter what else you may choose to think of me, Lime, you know my term in office has been clean.
Insofar as proof is concerned, the incorruptible Governor Hadley. However, these pictures have proved extremely embarrassing, old man. The untouchable Hadley seems to have been taken.
I don't know much about you, Mr. Lime, except that you hate Governor Hadley. But now he's asking for your help. No matter what happened in the past between you, please help him. He's willing to pay. He said your hatred came high. Wasn't his offer high enough?
Nora.
That's quite all right, Governor. I admire honesty and loyalty, even though I don't approve of it or believe in it. Come here, Nora.
What?
Come here. I want you to stand right before me. Look right into my eyes, straight in my eyes. Answer a question.
But Well, Mr. Lime, what is it?
If I were the governor and you were my secretary, would you be as honest, as loyal?
As honest? Yes. As loyal? No.
I see. Well, why the great concern about these pictures, Handy? Surely your indiscretions aren't that important.
Then you are going to help me.
I'm considering it.
Then you know those pictures are important, Lime. Cato's going to use them to ruin me.
Why?
He wants control of my state. Either his crooked syndicate moves in, or he sends these pictures to every newspaper in the state on the eve of the election.
Truvis Cato's improved with the years. This is almost worthy of me.
I never expected you to understand, Lime. But I thought the fee might make it worth your while. Re-election means a great deal to me. I've worked hard for my office. I don't want to win or lose because of a hoodlum like Cato. And I don't want my wife, my family, to be subjugated to this kind of smear campaign. They don't deserve it.
Spoken like a true family man, an American and a politician.
Governor Hadley, there must be some other way to get the negatives than this man.
Please, Nora.
Elaine, the fair Elaine, the lovable Elaine, the lily maid of Astolat. High in her chamber, up a tower to the east, guarded the sacred shield. I'll get the negatives and the rest of these pictures from Cato for $15,000.
Oh, thank heaven.
And dismissal of all charges against me in your state, old man.
What?
The price is cheap, Governor, for your career, your family.
Well, Governor, you can't.
Just a moment, Nora. Very well, Lime. You get me those negatives and you'll receive your money and full pardon.
I'll take the money now.
I expected that. Pay him, Nora.
How do you know you can trust him, sir?
He's the only man I know who can outwit Cato. I've got to trust him.
My fee, Miss Peyton?
Here it is. You'd better count it, Mr. Lime.
But why? I trust you.
Oh.
Just how do you plan to contact Cato?
That's easy enough. Easy to find a man like Cato. The hard part is in avoiding. You should know that very well, Governor.
Well, what is my next move?
Right back to your nice snug capital. Return to your ivory tower, Hadley, and carry on business as usual.
Oh, very well. We might as well start packing, Nora. We'll leave at once.
Yes, Governor.
No.
What?
Nora stays with me.
I what?
Now, listen here, lad.
Cato doesn't know her by sight, does he?
I don't think so. He contacted me away from his office.
And she'll be our go-between. You can still pack, Nora. I want you to register at another hotel, the Plaza. I'll meet you at the cocktail lounge in 3 hours.
Just what do you think?
Nora, I'd appreciate it if you would cooperate with Mr. Lime in whatever way you can.
Well, Nora?
Very well, Governor. I'll do my best.
You understand, Nora? We must trust Mr. Lime.
Well, who wants to talk in the hall, Cato? Let me in.
Come in, then.
Well, what have you found out, Izzy? I am tailing Governor Hadley like you want, ever since he sneaked into town.
Yeah. Come to the point.
Well, we're staying away from the point. The governor is making contacts with every main hood in New York. But nobody wants to go against Cato. Only Hadley must be finding someone who will go against you, because he leaves the hotel 3 hours ago.
Leaves?
Checks out, is taking a powder. But before that, he sends his girl down to the bar.
Girl? What girl?
Who knows her name? But who this girl talks to down at the bar, you'll never guess.
Come on, Gib. I'm not playing guessing games.
All right, Cato. So don't get sore at me. I'm trying to tell you all the time. She meets a Harry Lime. I hear her say the name.
Harry Lime.
This is not good news.
Harry Lime's the only guy, but the only guy who can louse me up. He would have to come to New York. Come on.
Come on where?
To the plaza, you jerk. If Lime's to come into this game, he's going to be on my side, alive or dead.
Mr. Lime.
Nora, I never dared hope you'd be this eager to see me.
It's Cato over at the bar.
Oh? Have a drink.
What are you going to do about Cato?
Careful, here comes the waiter.
Yes, dear. What will you have?
Well, what's your pleasure, huh?
Nothing. Anything.
Well, that offers a pretty wide choice, waiter. Scotch and water for 2.
2 Scotch and water, it is. Yeah?
I want you to smile, Nora. Look relaxed. Listen very carefully to what I have to say.
I'll try.
Glad you blessed me once before I die.
What?
Your smile. It's the first time I've seen it. Its radiance is breathtaking.
Please.
Leave me at once, Nora. When you're going to the powder room, don't return. Go to your room and stay there.
I don't understand.
Mr. Cato is preparing to beard me in his den, and I want you around when he does.
But
He's coming this way. Now, hurry. I haven't called you by morning. Get back to the capital fast.
What about you?
Why, Nora, I never dreamed you cared.
Oh, of all the...
Your Scotch and water, sir?
Fine. There you are.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Drinking alone, Lime? That can turn into a bad habit. Trubus Cato in the flesh. It is flesh, isn't it, old boy? Same old Harry. How about buying me the next round, Harry? At my place. Why, Trubus, old man. Are you thinking of taking me for a ride?
Why,
It's all right, old man. I'm game for anything. Shall we go?
Orson Welles returns in just a moment as the third man. Orson Welles as the third man continues with Play Pigeon.
I know it sounds funny, but it's true. I was being taken for a ride. And a long one. A silent one. Once we got in the car, Trubus stopped talking, and I was not in the mood to make any conversation. I had my tiger by the tail, and I waited for his move. Wait in the car, Easy. This won't take long.
Okay, boss. I am waiting.
After our nocturnal tour, you bring me to a ruin like this? Really, Cato, I thought you were doing pretty well.
I'm doing fine, Harry. Place on the state line, not too far from the capital. Makes it handy.
For you or the governor?
Wait and see.
Trubus. Well, this is a surprise.
Hadley.
Who's this fella, Trubus?
The face is Jim Hadley's, and the voice is almost identical.
Inside, Luke. Come on, Harry. And I'll buy you that drink I promised.
Sure. Drinks on the house.
Yes. I could use one.
Yeah, sit down, Harry.
I didn't think I'd see you so soon again, Trubus. What happened? Did you...
Shut up. Pour the drinks.
Oh, sure, Trubus.
Now, Harry,
I'm open for business.
Why, to risk the obvious, this isn't Governor Hadley.
Hey, you bet I'm not.
The Hadley boys were identical twins. Luke here was the black sheep of the family. Also was supposed to have died in a train wreck 15 years ago.
Identical twins, the oldest picture in the world.
Luke was the man in those pictures. So simple it always works. Even fooled you, Harry.
Oh, I can be fooled. Old man.
Luke's lived on jealousy and whiskey ever since he's seen the accident. He crossed my path several years ago just as I was figuring how to move into Jim Hadley's state. He was an answer from heaven.
Yeah, or the devil. I thought I had luck.
I can give you a fat fee, Harry, and a fine chance to pay off your old grudge against the governor.
Since when has benevolence become one of your characteristics, Cato?
What about this fat fee? You only paid me.
Shut up. As you know, I've already made the first contact with the governor.
How do you know I know?
Takes one to catch one, Harry. As I said, I got Jim over a barrel. I know he's bought you to get the pictures from me, but if you come into my deal, you not only make yourself some money, but you can put the final squeeze on the good governor.
Planning to set me up as a clay pigeon, are you, old man? Sending me to make the actual transaction so you can move your syndicate into the state while I'm caught with my blackmail down.
No, Harry, you know I wouldn't do that.
Coin a cliche about thieves, Cato.
I know. How much is the governor paying you to get these negatives?
$15,000 and a full pardon.
$15,000? Why, Trubus, you only gave me $500 to pose in those pictures.
I'll give you $25,000 to come in with me, Harry.
25 in advance?
Half of it. The rest when the deal is clinched.
Listen here, Trubus, if you're so quick to throw money around, toss some my way. I'd be
And
cheap.
a percentage of my gross to take when I'm in the state. It'll be like an annuity, Harry.
You listen to me, Trubus. You cut me in on this big deal you're talking about. If you don't, I'll go to jail.
You what, Luke?
No, nothing, Cato. I didn't mean. I was only trying to. Oh, what are you going to do, Trubus?
Is he? Take this rat and let Muggsy work him over.
No.
He talks too much.
No, I promise not to talk. You need me. I'll never.
Come on, Lou.
No.
Oh.
No, please.
Come on,
I won't. No.
Well, what's your answer, Harry?
Do all of your business partners get that treatment, old man?
No, of course not. He's always asking for it. But now ask, for instance. Why, we'll clean up in Hadley State. Slot machines, numbers, racket, dope protection, and that's just the beginning. Harry, give us 5 years and we'll be making money from every man, woman, and child in the United States.
Compared to you, Joe Stalin is an amateur. I don't think I'll settle for a mere percentage, Cato, no. Our deal's got to be 50-50, or I won't come over and slide down your cellar door.
50-50? Why, do you think you'll get away with this?
I'm certain of it, no, because the young lady was with me at the plaza.
What about her?
She's Hadley's secretary. I spent a great deal of time and effort on getting a complete file of your misdemeanors, Cato. If I fail to contact her, copies of said file will immediately be sent to all state and federal law enforcement officers. Your pitiful tintypes will be forgotten in the headlines about Trubus Cato. You wouldn't want to be named public enemy number 1.
50-50 it is.
Governor Hadley.
Nora. Good heavens, girl. What's happened?
Harry Lime, he's with Cato now, or at least he talked with him last night. By this time, he might be dead.
Dead?
Why don't you call the police or the FBI? You're the governor. Do something.
You too, Nora.
What do you mean?
The notorious Lime Charm. The man's brutal, merciless, vindictive. Lives only for himself. Yet when he wishes, he can hide all this with a cloak of magnetism. Great fascination. He's blinded you, Nora.
No, I hate him. He's a horrible man. I don't know what he is. It's been terrible, all of it. Seeing Cato waiting all night for Harry's call, not hearing, coming here.
I know, my dear. Believe me, I'm sorry. Yes?
Governor Hadley, Mr. Harry Lime to see you.
Harry.
And Mr. Cato.
Cato here? Send them in, please.
Yes, sir.
What can it mean?
I don't know.
Good afternoon, Governor Hadley. Nora?
Mr. Lime.
And Trubus Cato. Surely you haven't forgotten me, Governor.
Cato, I told you once and for all.
Don't be too hasty, Mr. Governor. My proposition is so good that Mr. Lime has come in on the deal with me.
What?
But you agreed to...
Lime? Is this thug telling the truth?
I've bought certain contracts for your signature, Governor. They'll allow Mr. Cato full-scale operations in your state.
Oh, no, you wouldn't.
I can't believe it, Lime. Not even you.
The price of the negatives, Governor, Oh, you'd better give me those negatives now, Cato. Prove our good faith to Governor Hadley.
What good faith. Oh, but here you are, Harry. The negatives and the rest of the pictures.
All nicely tied with a pretty ribbon, Governor. A ribbon as blue as Nora's eyes.
How small can you get?
Now, when you sign Mr. Cato's contracts, Governor, I'll deliver the negatives to Miss Peyton.
That's right. Just sign on the dotted line, Hadley, and everybody will be happy.
Sold out because I trusted a rat.
Here's your pen, Governor.
And here. Back, Nora. Get out of the way.
Lion, what?
What are you doing?
Down on the floor, Governor. Down on the floor.
Gun. Are you crossing me, Harry?
Hold it, Cato. It's my deal.
Oh, yes?
You killed him.
What happened? No shot.
I suggest you call an ambulance, young lady. There's been an attempt on Governor Hadley's life.
My goodness.
And keep those people out of here for a minute.
How can I ever thank you, Lion?
You risked your life, Harry, and all the time we
Save it. I had to kill Cato to take over his very lucrative business myself. I'll keep these negatives, Governor.
You'll what?
No, Harry, oh, no.
This is one time, Governor Hadley, when you're not getting off so easily. These incriminating negatives in my possession, like the sword of Damocles, will be suspended over your uneasy head from now on. Call them Harry Lime's annuity, Governor. Now, if you'll excuse me.
I might have expected this.
And I was beginning to think you were a human being.
By the time I left the Capitol building, the stars were out. The stars. I was reached by hard ways. I searched for a likely alley. Alley that was dark enough, lonely enough. Nothing will do well enough. Better remove the ribbon. Blue ribbon. Better to burn me. Oh, another voyager of the night. Greetings, cat. Mutually. Come closer. Seem to be ablaze. First the negatives. My candle burns at both ends. It will not last the night, but are my friends and all my foes. It gives a lovely light. Thank you, friend. Your applause is deeply appreciated. Now we're at the pictures. Does that warm you, cat?
Gilbert, what do you think you're doing in this alley?
Isn't it fairly obvious, officer? I'm making a fire.
How are you now?
Burning some love letters. Girl named Nora.
Nora, huh? Well, that's a good Irish name.
She had the bluest eyes this side of heaven. I'll leave the ashes to you, officer.
Hey, by the saints, you're Harry Lime. Come back here.
So long.
Returns in just a moment. And now, Harry Lime.
Goodbye for now. And remember what Ben Franklin said about honesty being the best policy. I wish I could. Just keep slipping my mind.
Presenting Orson Welles as the Third Man. The Lives of Harry Lime. The fabulous stories of the immortal character, originally created in the motion picture The Third Man, with zither music by Anton Karas.
That was the shot that killed Harry Lime. He died in a sewer beneath Vienna, as those of you know who saw the movie The Third Man. Yes, that was the end of Harry Lime. But it was not the beginning. Harry Lime had many lives, and I can recount all of them. How do I know? Very simple. Because my name is Harry Lime. I was down on my luck, way down, scraping the bottom. A couple of deals had fallen through, and I found myself in Paris with a lot of time on my hands and only the price of a beer in my pocket. I was spending my time and the money at Fouquet's, not because the beer is any cheaper at Fouquet's, but because you meet a nicer class of people there, and besides, they let you read the newspapers free. So I was reading a newspaper when I came on the advertisement. One of those classified ads in the personal column. It was addressed to Harry Lime. Harry Lime being me, I read on with some interest. There was no signature, no address. Mr. Harry Lime, it said, will find a business opportunity of an extremely profitable nature in the city of Tangier. Now, I might have thought this was one of the boys trying to hustle me out of Paris or just trying to be funny, except that the advertisement mentioned the city of Tangier. Now, why Tangier? There are very few places in the world I haven't been to, and Tangier just happened at the time to be one of them. Also, Tangier, as everybody knows, is full of money, and I couldn't imagine anybody wanting to send me there right in the heart of the free gold area, where every second address is a bank and every second person's an international operator, just for a gag. Probably more chances in Tangier to grab a fast buck than you'll find in the world today. So I was inclined to take the ad a little seriously. Of course, it might have been a police trap. There are cops in countries all over the globe busy looking for me. Some of them are just sharp enough to try to pull me in on a queer come-on like that. But the truth is that one of the only cities left where they don't happen to want me for what's known as questioning is the port of Tangier. And that's what sold me. There's just one complication. My beer was finished, and with it, my financial resources. How to raise the price of the ticket.
And now, Orson Welles as Harry Lime, the Third Man, in today's story, Ticket to Tangier.
While I was brooding about how to raise the price of the ticket to Tangier, my eye happened to wander down the personal column of the newspaper, and a little below the advertisement addressed to me was this: Gentleman traveling to Tangier. A visit to the desk of the porter at the Lancaster Hotel on Rue de Berry will repay any businessman planning a visit to Tangier who can whistle a certain tune. Well, of course, that didn't have to be Harry Lime, but there's a song I'm fond of, one I've been whistling for years. Anybody who knew about me might know about that song. Anyway, what could I lose? I went over to the hotel and approached the concierge. Bonjour. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, monsieur. What can I do for you?
Well, I don't quite know that you can do anything. You happen to read the Paris edition of the Herald Tribune?
No, monsieur. I prefer to follow the news in my own language, but we have copies of the paper you mentioned for sale.
No, thanks. I've seen it.
Perhaps monsieur is calling for someone in the hotel, one of the guests. Whom shall I announce?
Harry Lime.
Perhaps I should have asked you first who it is you are coming to see.
Now, that I couldn't tell you. Just tell me this. Do you like to whistle?
I am a lover of music, monsieur, but I do not whistle. No. As a young lad, however, in the orchestra of my school, I was considered quite proficient on the bassoon.
Well, try this on your bassoon.
Ah, yes, of course. I have something for you, Mr. Lime. Here.
Oh, thanks. Thanks very much. Yes, it's addressed to me, all right, but that's all there is on the envelope, just my name. I wonder, would it be asking too much if I asked you to tell me who this is from?
Monsieur, it would be asking too much.
Oh, okay, old man. Thanks anyway. I wish I could give you something for your trouble, but I forgot my wallet this morning.
That was anticipated, monsieur.
What do you mean?
Everything, monsieur, has been taken care of.
Everything?
Yes, monsieur. That is the word, I believe. Everything.
In the envelope was an airline ticket for Tangier, 50,000 francs in nice fresh notes, and the following letter. My dear Mr. Lime, when you arrive in Tangier, go immediately to the El Mirador Hotel, where a suite is reserved for you. After you've dined, go to a cabaret called the Kabbalah. Wait there for instructions.
Excuse me, monsieur.
Oh, yes, porter. Is anything wrong?
Nothing is wrong, monsieur, but it's...
Ticket for Tangier, 50,000 francs in nice fresh notes, and the following letter. My dear Mr. Lime, when you arrive in Tangier, go immediately to the El Mirador Hotel, where a suite is reserved for you. After you've dined, go to a cabaret called the Kabbalah. Wait there for instructions.
Excuse me, monsieur.
Oh, yes, porter. Is anything wrong?
Nothing is wrong, monsieur, but it is 2:45, and your plane leaves early at 3:50.
Oh, okay, old man, okay. I'm on my way. Just call me a cab, would you please?
No need for that, monsieur. A limousine has been ordered for you. It is waiting at the door. It was a very pleasant trip with a very attractive hostess on board.
Are you quite comfortable, Mr. Lyle?
Oh, yes, I'm fine, thanks.
Isn't there anything you like?
Well, I'd like to know what you're doing tonight after we land.
I mean, wouldn't you like some more coffee or maybe a pillow?
I know what you mean, and you know what I meant.
Tangier is a very interesting city. First there's the Arabs and the Kasbah and all that, and then there's the modern European city. It's an international port, of course, with 14 different countries in control, but of course you know that.
Yes, I've heard tell.
I guess you're making fun of me. You're a businessman. You've probably been to Tangier many times.
Well, let me take that up point by point. I'm not a businessman. I've never been to Tangier, and I wouldn't dream of making fun of you. Just answer me one question.
I go back on a return flight at 6 in the morning, Mr. Lime, and I'm sleeping.
You haven't answered the question. Besides, my name isn't Mr. Lime.
Oh, that's what it says on the manifest.
My name is Harry. Ever been to a nightclub in Tangier called the Kabbalah?
Oh, yes, I have.
You have what?
Yes, I have had it.
Is it a nice nightclub?
Best in town.
That's good. Glad you like it. I've reserved a table for us, okay?
Fasten your safety belt. We're coming in.
You know something?
What?
You're one of the few girls outside of Havana I ever danced with who knows anything at all about the rumba.
I learned it in Havana.
That almost explains it.
What do you mean, almost?
Okay, you learned to dance in Havana, and so do lots of other people. Okay, you're a hostess on an airline. You're very good-looking, and there are lots of good-looking hostesses that dance the rumba, but they don't dance that well. And none of them look this beautiful. No, I don't know what I mean by almost, but really, you know, you're almost too good to be true.
No, I'm not so good.
That's good.
You don't even know my name.
Yes, I do. There's a sign on the door of the cockpit, the plane that says Captain T.R. Stevenson, co-pilot J. O'Brady, air hostess P. Smith. So that's your name, isn't it? P. Smith. May I call you P?
P is for Patsy.
Okay, we'll settle for that. You sit down. That champagne ought to be cold enough by now.
It's awfully close in here. Why don't we forget the champagne and take a walk outside?
Oh, wonderful. I'll just pay the check.
Don't bother. It's been taken care of.
What do you mean?
The check has been paid.
Well, look here, old girl. We can't have that. You're my guest, remember. Besides, I'm the male in the party, and I have my pride.
I'm sorry, Harry. It's all taken care of. Come on.
Good night, mademoiselle.
Good night.
Good night, monsieur.
Good night. Good night. Patsy, I'm going to take something back.
What's that, Harry?
One little word.
What's the word?
Almost.
I don't understand it.
Well, I used it describing you, but it doesn't fit. The word almost could never be applied to you. Whatever you are, that's what you are completely. You couldn't be almost anything.
You're wrong, Harry. Almost is just the word for me. Among other things, I'm almost very rich.
It must be if you treat all your boyfriends to champagne.
You're a special case.
We won't argue about that, Patsy. I'm a special case. But what's an airline hostess get paid? Not to treat her boyfriends to champagne, even the special cases like me? No, Patsy, it doesn't make sense. You say you're rich.
I said I'm almost rich.
Well, then you must be almost stupid.
What do you mean?
Well, if I was almost rich, I wouldn't be working for my living at all. I wouldn't be found on an airplane unless I wanted to get someplace.
I said I was almost rich, Harry, and that's what I meant. That doesn't mean I've little money or enough money. It means I have to work for my living. I took this job to pay the rent and also because it brings me twice a week to Tangier.
What do you like about Tangier? A lot of international lawyers and private banks with streets full of American cars and grimy characters in night shirts. Not very beautiful. As far as I can see, it's a kind of Switzerland with Arabs.
No, but it is beautiful, Harry, if you know the right places. Let me show you. Taxi! You know the Villa Muggetti?
The Villa Muggetti? Ah, yes, Mademoiselle. Mademoiselle means the great palace on the hill. I know it well.
Good. Get in, Harry. I'm going to show you how beautiful Tangier can be.
The cab twisted and turned its tortuous way through the native quarter, and then pretty soon we were out in the country. We were climbing steadily, I noticed, and passing beautiful villas, homes of rich expatriates who come to live in this strange little international settlement of Tangier, where you don't even have to register with your consulate, and nobody pays any income taxes at all. I think I neglected to mention that Patsy was beautiful. And if I did, believe me, I was understating the situation. She had gray eyes and that clear, powdery gold hair that makes you think of the ashes of angels' wings. I know an awful lot of girls, but none of them I've ever laid eyes on would have given Patsy a worried moment. There may be better-looking airplane hostesses, but if there are, they're working for airlines on another planet. As we climbed up the moon-bright hills over Tangier, I forgot completely the strange business which had brought me there, the advertisement in the paper, the airline ticket, and all the rest of it. I didn't care why I'd been sent for to Tangier. I didn't care who'd done it or what he wanted from me.
I adore kissing you. You do it very well. But we've come to our destination.
Yeah, so we have. Anyway, the cab stopped. When did that happen?
About 5 minutes ago.
Where are we?
Well, there's the bay below us.
Oh, very pretty it looks, too, with all the lights and moon on the wall.
No, not now, Harry.
Please.
I'm very impatient. Now let's get out.
Why? It's nice in here.
It's nicer than the house.
And that enormous place?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, some kind of private mansion it must be. I'm sure we'll be welcome.
Here, you take the key.
The key? You mean...
That's what I mean. You're my guest.
Yes, but how?
You've been my guest all along. Gentleman traveling to Tangier, a visit to the desk.
But what do you
You whistled a tune, didn't you?
Well, how do you know about it?
I had a friend once who told me how fond you've always been of that music.
No, I mean, how do you know about the ad in the paper?
I ought to know. I paid for it.
And my plane ticket.
I got a reduction from the airline. Come in, Harry. Here's a flashlight. I've got something to show you.
Orson Welles returns in just a moment as the third man. Orson Welles as the third man continues with today's story, Ticket to Tangier.
I followed Patsy into the house. It was a huge place, full of heavy chandeliers and pompous furniture, most of which were pretty spooky looking because they were covered with dust cloths. Obviously, the place hadn't been lived in for many months, but who was it who had lived here? Who was it that built this unlikely palace on a hill overlooking the harbor of Tangier? Above all, why had I been brought here? Just who was P. Smith, air hostess, and what did she expect me to do about it? We made a tour of several chambers before I even started to get any answers.
This way, Harry.
Oh. Where are we now?
This used to be a ballroom. Close the curtains, then we'll turn on the lights.
Okay.
You're sure they're tight shut all round? We don't want the police to come and start asking questions.
You can say that again, honey. What have the cops got to do with you?
Nothing. Yet. I'll turn on the switch. See that?
Huh? I see a piano, about 30 gilt chairs, a big rolled-up carpet, all very splendid and grand, but which particular item am I supposed to admire?
The carpet.
I'm not a connoisseur, Patsy, so if you brought me here to get an appraisal, I'm afraid we're both wasting our time. Think about carpets.
Do you know about heroin?
Yes. Heroin is a drug. It is nasty and habit-forming, and its sale is controlled by international law.
Go on, tell me more.
I don't know any more about heroin. Not anything to speak of. I don't use drugs, Miss Smith.
But you sell them?
I just told you that the sale of heroin is controlled by law. Are you suggesting
I'm suggesting that there isn't much you don't know about breaking the law. Any law.
You've got a point there. I won't try to deny that my knowledge of the subject isn't fairly extensive.
Why do you think I sent for you? Why do you think I brought you here? You're Harry Lime, aren't you? Now stop kidding for a minute and let's get down to business.
First of all, I think you'd better answer a few questions, Miss P. Smith, air hostess.
That isn't necessary.
Maybe not, sweetheart, but I'm the curious type. I like the facts before I take on a job, all of them. First of all, what's your racket?
I haven't any racket. I'm an airline hostess.
Yes, but why?
Because it's a good job.
Yes, and because the run takes you to Tangier, am I right?
That's partly right. Yes, but listen...
Well, what's your real name?
What's it to you?
We'll play it my way, sweetheart, and we aren't playing it at all. You must need me awful bad to take all this trouble to look me up and move me. If you need me, you're going to cooperate. We'll start off with your real name and go on from there.
Did you ever hear of a man named Mugetti?
Mugetti? Rico Mugetti?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I thought the name of this place was familiar. I met Rico once in Marseille. Another time in Casablanca. He comes from Corsica, isn't that right?
He came from Corsica.
You mean he's dead?
Yes. I was his wife.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There's no need to be sorry for me. I killed Rico myself.
Well, I'm sorry for Rico.
He wasn't a nice man, Harry.
No, I guess he wasn't. I remember now. I once saw him blind a man with a broken wine glass. You're right. Rico wasn't a very nice man, but he was careless.
How do you mean, careless?
But his wives, anyway. A man has to watch himself when he starts playing with wives. Sometimes they're loaded.
Why don't you stop kidding? Just for a minute.
What am I supposed to do? After all, there are only so many alternatives. I can make a joke about what you just told me, or congratulate you, or hand you to the cops. And now I think it's better if we treat it as a joke.
So this is the notorious Harry Lime, the man no country can hold and who stops at nothing. You know what? I think you're actually shocked.
Maybe I'm not Harry Lime at all. After all, an awful lot of people can whistle that song.
You'd better be.
I'd better be what, Love Boat? The original Harry Lime, not a facsimile? He doesn't like murder, Mrs. Mugetti. You say he stops at nothing. Well, believe you me, he stops at that. A, it's messy, B, it's silly, and C, there's no profit in it. Besides, Harry Lime's mother always told him not to go around killing people. She said it wasn't nice.
You don't know the facts in the case, Harry. I was justified. I'll have to take my word for it.
I guess I will at that. And now, Mrs. Mugetti, if you don't mind, why have you brought me all the way to Africa to this empty house? You say there's a lot of heroin in that rug. Do I take your word for that?
You don't have to. You can look for yourself.
I told you before, honey, I don't know anything about dope.
You know people who do, don't you? People in Paris, in London, in New York.
Not intimately.
But you know how the drug traffic works. I don't. It was something new for Rico, some kind of big haul. He must have had a partner because he wouldn't have known how to dispose of it. It wasn't his line at all.
It isn't mine either, honey. I keep telling you that. How do you know it's so valuable?
He told me. I've been keeping it here in the house for months now. This airline job I have is perfect for smuggling the stuff, but I don't know who to take it to. I don't know what towns pay the best price. I don't know the names of the agents. Rico kept me away from that kind of thing. All I can remember was hearing him talk about you. You've got to help me, Harry.
What about the police?
They don't know it's here. I don't think they even know about the house, at least. There isn't anything against him in Tangier.
I heard about you, Love Boat. You killed him, didn't you? How do the cops feel about that?
They don't suspect me. There's no reason why they should. I had a good alibi. I wasn't even in town.
You must tell me how you did that sometime.
So you can blackmail me? No, thanks, Harry. Let's keep our relationship on a nice, clean business level.
Now, that's the way I like to hear you talk.
Who are you?
To talk about that letter, Madame Mugetti.
Now I think it would be easier all round if you and Mr. Lime put your hands in the air. Not too high. Just shoulder level, huh? Right. This is a very efficient gun I'm holding. And I have a good mouth.
How did you get in?
I hate to tell you, Madame Mugetti, the explanation is so banal. Through the door. You left it open. Now then, where's the heroine?
Just a minute.
Yes, Mr. Lime?
You seem to know my name, monsieur, but I'm afraid you have the advantage.
It doesn't matter. I was, shall we say, a business associate of this widowed lady's husband.
Okay, don't tell me. Let me guess. You began in Indochina. You served 3 years in a penal colony in Brazil. They used to call you the doctor. Am I right?
I have a doctor's degree.
Dr. Bessie, that's your name?
What a detective you would make, Mr.
I have a good memory, Dr. Bessie, and I'm a professional collector of information. You'll find the heroine in the piano.
In the piano?
Yeah.
This is probably a trick, Mr. Lime. Suppose you go to the piano and extract the heroine yourself.
Don't be silly, old man. It would be very simple for me to extract a revolver from the piano. I think it would be unpleasant for both of us if there was any shooting. There must be police in the neighborhood. I'd much prefer you to find your dope and leave quietly. I'm a peace-loving man.
Very well. I'll look for myself. I'm keeping my eye on you, Lime. Now then. Wait a minute. There is nothing here. What have you...
Put up your hands, Bessie. I'm warning you. I'll shoot if you don't.
What you did?
Well, very quick, I must say. Congratulations. Strange. He said he was a good shot. Must have been boasting.
He should have kept his eyes on both of us, and nobody could do that. Is he dead?
I wouldn't know, Mrs. Mugetti. I haven't asked him. He looks that way. Have you any plans?
Yes, we better get out of here.
Isn't that funny? That's just what I was going to suggest.
Take the heroin. You can carry it just as it is in the rug.
No, thanks. I have a bad back, and I hate to stoop over. Why don't we just leave it where it is?
Let the cops find it and give up $100,000 worth of dough, you crazy?
Not crazy enough to argue with you as long as you're holding that gun, Patsy, but...
What's that?
Well, what do you think?
Maybe it's the police.
Either that or it's New Year's Eve. Douse the lights on it.
Right.
Okay, and now... That's much better.
Why, you...
We've got darkness, and I've got the gun.
Give it back to me.
You're too impulsive for firearms, Mrs. Mugetti. I'm keeping the gun.
The cops.
Sure, the cops. Your husband built a nice big house, but it's getting a bit overcrowded. If you don't mind the suggestion, I think we better scram just 2 feet ahead of me, Mrs. Mugetti, and don't try anything funny.
You
Keep your seatbelt fastened. We're coming in. We made our way out through the garden. The cops were all over the place, and after a while it was clear that our only hope was in separating. Patsy, you go through the shrubbery. Keep straight on down the field till you get to town. You can, Missy. Just keep going down the road.
What about you?
I'll make out all right.
Yes, but what about the heroine?
Heroine? There isn't any heroine in this story, Mrs. Mugetti. Just a hero. That's a joke, honey. You can laugh at it later when you catch your plane to Dakar.
Harry Lime returns in just a moment. And now, Harry Lime.
Of course, they got her. They took her off the plane on the return round to Paris. Somebody tipped off the police about that murder. It's what you might call the wages of lying. It's another joke, but you don't have to laugh at it. I'll do the laughing. You see, what Patsy didn't know was that I had picked up the rug in the darkness and hid it under a bush just outside the window. I came back later and collected it. Of course, the word was out about Rico's big consignment, and didn't have any trouble getting a good price in Marseille the next week. But honestly, I don't approve of drugs. That's why I threw the original stuff into the Bay of Tangier and delivered to the gangsters 7 nicely wrapped packages of confectioner's sugar. They tell me you can get the habit for sugar, too, but my conscience is clear, all except for one thing, that little prayer rug it was wrapped in. I know it didn't belong to me, but it looks very nice here in front of the tea table, don't you think so? Will you have milk or lemon with your tea? And how much sugar?
This is the very best brand, you know. A syndicate of desperate gangsters paid me $50,000 for only 7 packages of the same quality.
Presenting Orson Welles as the Third Man. The Lives of Harry Lime. The fabulous stories of the immortal character, originally created in the motion picture The Third Man, with zither music by Anton Karas.
That was the shot that killed Harry Lime. He died in a sewer beneath Vienna. As those of you know who saw the movie The Third Man. Yes, that was the end of Harry Lime. But it was not the beginning. Harry Lime had many lives. And I can recount all of them. How do I know? Very simple. Because my name is Harry Lime. I've known many places and left them, made many friends and lost them, won many fortunes and spent them. My fate seems to be linked to a cosmic yo-yo. This is a story of a low point on one of the yo-yo trips down. This particular low point is known on the map as the island of Haiti. I arrived there as a sort of political refugee, a small revolution I'd been promoting in a nearby banana republic. It fizzled out on me, and the general I'd been backing backed out. I found myself holding the bag. The bag, luckily, just happened to contain a few rolls of the U.S. Treasury's best lettuce. So when I descended on Haiti, I did it with style. Then, after a while, I spent the style. Don't let anybody tell you about the easy life on these tropical islands. You need dough in paradise, too. Of course, I still had my friends among the natives, but even they had become devoted students of the Rubaiyat. That is, they took the cash and let the credit go.
And now, Orson Welles is Harry Lime, the third man in Voodoo.
I am sorry, Monsieur Harry, no more.
Oh, come on now, George. You've got a clean white cuff there, even for a bartender.
Monsieur Harry, please understand. My boss, he supply my cuff. I cannot mark it up any further.
George, are you trying to tell me that money makes that much difference to you? Do you prefer that sort of customer to me, that ambassador of ill will over there? The Babbitt who comes to Haiti to find somebody new in Toledo? Or do you prefer...
Monsieur Harry, I prefer you.
Oh, merci, old man.
Every native on this island prefers Monsieur Harry.
Well, then it's settled, huh?
But the boss, he prefers his customer with the money.
Oh, I should have known. Somehow, George, it never occurred to me that you'd sell out like the rest, go commercial. But, well, you've been trapped too, George. Cornered, impaled on the almighty dollar sign.
No, mon ami.
Well, George, it's getting late. Time for me to move on, I guess.
That's your greatest fault, Harry Lime. Always moving on.
What?
And it's always getting so late.
Donna.
Hello, Harry, darling.
Donna, you beautiful, wonderful witch.
Oh.
What are you doing?
Let's not be trite, Harry. I could ask you the same question.
Okay, then. Whom are you doing here?
Harry, darling. 3 years haven't changed you a bit.
Well, who is he? That one?
No. Over there. The seersucker suit.
Oh, no, Donna.
Oh, he's really quite charming, Harry.
Charming, huh? He's an oaf. I don't like the way he laughs.
Oh, you'd adore him, darling. He pinches waitresses, collects souvenirs, collects money, too.
Ah, I might have known. He's with you. Well, let's meet him.
And now, Harry.
After you, mademoiselle. Oh, and, George, you might tell your boss that Harry Lime is on the preferred list again. I spent several pleasant moments following Donna to the booth. As she snaked her way adroitly between the tables, it was difficult for me to focus my attention on Mark. The Mark in this case was fat and perspiring. Of course, he was bald. His contributions to the aromas of the cafe were generous. His cigars, perspiration, and his money.
Sam?
Huh? Oh, hiya, baby. I was just going to send out a searching party for you.
Sam, I'd like you to meet an old friend of mine, Harry Lime, Sam Torkin.
Oh, very happy to meet you, Mr. Torkin.
Oh, sit down. Any friend of Dorna's is a friend of mine. Well, within reason, of course.
Very good.
You from the States too, Larry?
Harry, Sam. Harry Lime.
Huh? Oh, yeah, Harry. Yeah, what part of the States you from?
I'm from Toledo.
Toledo?
Yeah.
One of my plants is in Toledo. A drink. Here, have a drink. Waiter, bring my friend a drink. Toledo, eh? Great little town.
Yes, sir.
Of course, to me, any town's a great town as long as business is good.
That's right.
Hey, you know, this is my first vacation in 18 years. 18 years. Can you imagine that?
He gabbled. For eternities, he gabbled. Donna was obviously abused by my boredom, but my patience, as always, had a price. Torkin kept gabbling till I almost considered reducing that price, and then he gave me my cue.
Sure is hot in these parts. Well, baby, come on. Let's go out of this dump and find some souvenirs.
Oh, Sam, not again.
Now, what sort of souvenirs are you looking for, Mr. Torkin?
Oh, I don't know. The souvenirs are... Well, souvenirs, ain't they? Now, come on, beautiful. Let's...
Souvenirs can be more than souvenirs, Mr. Torkin.
No, what kind of talk is that?
Now, look, Mr. Torkin, you're a man of taste and means.
Hey, sales pitch. Hey, what are you selling, Lime?
Yes, Harry, what are you selling?
Well, selling, I'm selling nothing but plain, ordinary common sense. It's at a premium on this island, Mr. Torkin.
Yeah?
Oh, let him finish
that. Tell you
that.
about Haiti, both of you. This island is steeped in sentiment, not archaic, not the lace-trim sort of thing. Sentiment here is a wild, untamed, primitive love, a sense of possession that defies the laws of man and nature. Now, listen to those drums, Torkin. Listen. They're telling you the secrets of Haiti.
Huh?
Do you understand them, Harry?
As much as any civilized man is permitted to.
Well, that's that voodoo stuff, ain't it?
Well, they're not stuff, Torkin. Those drums are calling to the voodoo gods to smile upon the wedding of a native man and his beloved. The wedding rites are just beginning. They'll continue till dawn. It's the wedding of Fancy and Grigri.
Who?
Fancy works as a waiter in a hotel here in town. His father got in a jam once with a planter, and I just happened to save his neck. That counts for something here in Haiti. Oh, that reminds me. If you'll excuse me.
Yeah, where you going?
I'm going to the wedding.
You're going up there?
Oh, take us with you.
Well, I wish I could, Donna, but, well,
Hey, wait a minute now. Sit down. Now, what about all this sentiment and souvenirs and all?
Well, all right. Look. Haiti is crawling with priceless relics, anthropological prizes, historical symbols. They bring fantastic prices from any museum in the States.
Oh, where do they sell them?
Well, they're not selling them, Talker. You've got to know the island. You've got to know the people to find them.
Well, how come they're worth so much?
Sentiment, old man, sentiment. The Voodoo brand. The natives protect their sacred symbols with their lives. And, of course, they're the raw materials.
Huh?
Little sentimental trinkets, diamonds, rubies, sapphires, miscellaneous baubles. The kind of sentiment we understand.
Oh, I love souvenirs like that.
Oh, well, okay, Lime. I guess you can get me one of them baubles.
Yes, that's possible.
Now, what's your deal?
Well, first let me find a suitable trinket. Time enough then to bargain. For now, Mr. Torkin, a small retainer will do.
Huh? Oh, yeah, well, how much?
Oh, as you wish. But, as those drums would tell you, sentiment comes high in Haiti. I had a feeling that Dorna would keep Sam Torkin well occupied for the present. The future, of course, I'd handle in my own way. And in the meantime, there's nothing to worry about except keeping a date with two old friends. I found my friends in the clearing. Scenery, the head of the ceremonial party in a place of honor, as befitted them.
Monsieur Harry, we don't think you ever come.
No, I wouldn't have missed it, Fancy. You and Grigri are my favorite people.
Oh, thank you. You are kind.
You say that so often, Grigri, I almost believe it. Seriously, I wish you both much happiness.
Merci.
We will be happy always when we have friends like Ari Lime. You have done so much for us. Our family, we cannot forget you.
Fancy, old man, you go far with a wife like this. She says all the right things.
It is the time.
Oh, the marriage ceremony?
Oh, no, we are married already.
It is the moment to pledge ourselves to the authority.
Authority?
It is a tribal custom.
Fancy. Please, Ari, these are tribal secrets.
Oh, you don't trust your old friend with secrets?
We can trust no one with these secrets.
Fancy, what's happening? What's that?
It is the authority, the scepter, the sacred scepter of Henri Christophe.
The scepter of Henri Christophe. Well, here was the souvenir for talking.
All right, Lime, all right. Who is this Henri Christophe?
Talking. You mean to say you never heard of him?
Nah.
Christophe was, well, he was the George Washington of Haiti.
Oh, every two-bit country's got its own Washington. Get me Washington scepter, and I'm interested.
Listen, old man. Christophe started life as a slave. He became Haiti's most powerful ruler. At one point in his regime, talking, he stood off the combined armies of France and England with 2,000 men. On the north end of this island, old man, up near Le Cap.
Huh?
Le Cap, Tien. Tremendous fortress high on the hill above the jungle. You've seen it, haven't you?
Well, how could I miss it? It's big enough.
One of the biggest. Washington didn't build that, talking. Christophe did.
So what?
He didn't just order it built. He planned it, designed it, supervised the work, dug rocks out of the mountains with his bare hands. You're a self-made man, Torkin. That ought to appeal to you.
What about the scepter, Lime?
Look, old man. Henri Christophe is a landlocked saint to these people, an all-powerful earth god. While he lived, his scepter was his symbol of strength and wealth. Being king in those days was a profitable business, old man. Christophe had more jewels in that scepter than Dorna has curves. Then there was a revolt here in Haiti, and Christophe was found dead, but the scepter was gone. For over 100 years, its whereabouts have been kept secrets. I know the secret, Torkin. I can get it for you.
Yeah? How?
It's my business. Your business is to make it worth my while.
Okay, Lime. How much this time?
Oh, plenty, old man. Fancy, where are you? Oh, Gregory.
Enter, Ari. Oh, you are welcome in the house of Fancy and Gregory.
Ari, my friend Ari. It is
Fancy,
good.
I've been looking for you. I've got to talk to you.
Oh, we are always eager to listen.
Fancy, it's that scepter of Henri.
Oh,
What's the matter?
Oh, Harry, please, you must not ask. These are secrets of our people.
But I've always considered myself one of your people, Greg.
My friend Harry, I have told you too much already. Please do not think any more of the scepter. It is forbidden to speak of it.
Forbidden among friends?
Harry, with the scepter, it is different. It is the authority.
Is it?
It is the scepter of Henri Christophe. It is passed down from high priest to high priest. It is never out of their hands. It is the authority. Oh, that is enough to know. Please, ask no more.
Grigri, would I ask if it weren't important?
No, Harry, please.
I've got to know more about it, Grigri. Fancy, you understand, don't you?
Grigri. Oh, don't make him say more, Harry, please. Don't make him say more. Please, please, please.
Yeah, come in. Fancy, come in, old man, come in.
Harry, you do not mind that I come here?
Oh, of course not, anytime. What's the trouble?
I do not know. It is not my trouble. When you are at my house today, I see you have great trouble. I try to tell Grigri, but she do not understand.
Trouble me? No, wait a minute.
I am to tell her you must have great trouble, or you would not ask for tribal secrets.
Oh, well...
It is all right, Harry. You are my friend. When you are in trouble, I help you.
Oh, well... good. That's the spirit, old man.
You have done much for me and Grigri. This is for you.
Oh?
It is the scepter of Henri Christophe.
It's... Fancy.
It is yours. I could do no less.
Fancy it.
Now,
it's...
you will have no more trouble, Harry.
Well, now, wait a minute. Well, what about you? How did you get this thing, anyway?
It is no matter.
You stole it from the high priest. What if they find out you took it? They won't go to the police.
No.
They won't put you in jail?
No.
Well, what will they do?
They will not put me in jail. They will not go to the police. The priest will be my judge.
Fancy. What will they do?
They will punish me. I will die.
Orson Welles returns in just a moment as the third man. And now, Orson Welles, as the third man, continues with Voodoo.
Had I known a man like Fancy earlier in my life, my ideas about all men might just possibly be a little different today. Here was the truest kind of friend. True in the real sense of the word true. He was staking his life, literally. Staking his life on his faith in Harry Lime. If I rejected his offer of the sacred scepter, I'd have shattered his faith in me. And Fancy lived by his faith in his friends. And I did need the scepter. As for friends, well, there are many kinds of friendship.
Harry, tell the truth.
Oh, sure. Dora, my love, you're ravishing.
Oh, no. Not that. About the scepter.
Oh. You got a cigarette?
Here.
Thanks.
Is it really the scepter of Henri Christophe? Think Sam will buy it?
Why not?
Why is it so valuable?
Historical significance, cluster of rubies, big fat sapphire in the middle.
Harry. What's it really worth?
20,000, maybe 25. Move the ashtray over.
Bet Tolkien would give me 35,000 for it.
Think so?
I'm prettier than you.
Right. But I have Christophe's scepter.
Oh, but darling, If you let me peddle it to talk
Donna,
you.
my sweet, I lost you 3 years ago in Madagascar. The scepter might be a temptation for you to leave me again.
Oh, no.
No, that
Harry.
stuff, never. I'm not covering it up now.
Oh, wouldn't 35,000 be nicer than 25?
Mm-hmm.
Then why don't you let me
Donna,
have
the
it?
fact is, I don't have a scepter.
What?
Bought it this morning. $50,000.
Harry, you. You. That's why you lost me in Madagascar. Guess I've got to work on talking again. Good old Sam.
Yeah, good old Sam. Somehow, good old Sam ran a bad second. Donna was no fool. She wasn't greedy. I was available, and I had money. Not as much as talking, of course, but enough to keep her satisfied temporarily. We decided on a small celebration, the sort that requires noisy public demonstrations with champagne bottles. We went to a little cafe, and I rather enjoyed the impression I was making, particularly on Georges.
Would you like me to put this on your bill, Monsieur?
No, certainly not, George. Certainly not. I wouldn't want to cause any undue strain or suffering for your employer.
But, Monsieur...
Never mind, George, old man. Here, this should cover the situation, I think. Oh, here's a little something for you.
Thank you, Monsieur. You are...
What's the matter?
You will excuse me, Mr. Ray. I must go.
Huh?
I'm sorry, I must close the bar.
Close the bar at this time of night? Just a minute.
The drums, Monsieur Ray. You understand, the drums.
The drums? What? Why, George. The death drums.
I do not have to tell you, Monsieur Ray.
Why? What for?
I don't know. You'll excuse me.
Harry, what is it?
I don't know. Those are the death drums. They mean someone's dead or dying. Or going to die.
Going to die? Who?
I don't know. I have a hunch. I hope I'm wrong.
Harry! Wait! Where are you going? Harry! Harry!
When I got to the ceremonial grounds, I saw a frenzied sight. Hundreds of natives, still dressed in the tattered dungarees of the cane fields, dancing, shrieking, half hypnotized. And the drums. They were the drums of death, all right. No mistaking it. As I crashed through the brush, surrounding the clearing, I saw that they'd already taken a life. There was a body, a dead body, strapped to a post in the center of the circle. Sam talking. The voodoo priest danced up and back in front of it, waving curses over it and screaming through the slits in a hideous mask. And in his hand, he held the scepter of Marie Christophe. A scepter that had cost Torkin more than he'd bargained for. I'd had enough. I turned to leave. And then at the far end of the clearing, I saw something else. 2 more bodies tied together, back to back, hanging by their wrists from a long crossbow strung between 2 trees. The 2 of them together, Fancy and Grigri, ready to be sacrificed. No, wait, stop it, I tell you. Listen, all of you, listen to me. You're making a mistake. You're torturing 2 innocent people. You can't do it.
They have wronged us. It was forbidden. They must be punished.
No.
They will die.
Well, they can't die. You're punishing them for something they didn't do. You think they sold the scepter to this man, but they didn't. I did. I made Fancy tell me about it. I'm the one you want. Listen to me. You've got to believe me.
Harry Lime would not cause their death. Harry Lime is their friend.
But I tell you, it was my deal. And I'm the guy you want. So untie these ropes. Come on, move, or there'll be a new voodoo priest holding forth at your funeral.
It's no use, Harry Lime. If you kill me, others will take the revenge.
It's no use to kill these 2 either. Okay, Grigri, you're loose. Help untie Fancy. Okay, I'll do it myself. Hold still, Fancy. There, you're loose. All right, come on. Come on, I'll get you 2 out of this. Hurry.
It is too late. You must go.
Come on, I'll help you. Now run for it.
Stay back, you lunatics, or I'll start knocking off Voodoo. I warned you now. Stay back.
That's better. Come on, Fancy. Wrigley, get going. Well, there goes Haiti, Dorna. Another corner of the world chipped off.
You'll be back, Harry.
No. Fancy and Grigri are gone to Cuba. Time people will learn the truth about me. Haiti's through with Harry Lime.
You're really taking this seriously, aren't you?
Not to my fashion. Guess I messed up your meal ticket, too, didn't I?
Sam talking? Poor Sam. Don't worry, Harry. You'll take care of me.
Until the 50,000 is gone.
Well?
That's what I thought. Well, let's have a drink.
Harry Lime returns in just a moment. And now, Harry Lime.
I know what you're saying. You're saying that wasn't Harry Lime at all. You're saying the noble hero that pulled off that fancy rescue party wasn't the third man. He was a couple of other guys. Just goes to show how I misjudged. Well, ask Fancy and Grigri, now happily keeping house in a suburb of Havana. They'll tell you it really was Harry Lime that got them out of that whole voodoo mess. Of course, they'll also remind you that I got them into it. And they might possibly mention that as the three of us dashed off into the jungle, I paused just long enough to borrow that scepter back from the high priest. Got a nice price for it, too, from a collector in Brussels. But that's another story. So long now, and if anybody should run into Dorna anywhere, in Timbuktu, for example, or the Store Club, give her my love. Remind her she owes me about 15,000 hard-earned American bucks, which seem to have slipped out of a hole in my pocket or something. No hard feelings, of course, but if you get a choice between voodoo, hoodoo, and little Dorna, I hope you'll know what to do about it. Take the voodoo every time.
Presenting Orson Welles as the Third Man. The Lives of Harry Lime. The fabulous stories of the immortal character, originally created in the motion picture The Third Man, with zither music by Anton Karas.
That was the shot that killed Harry Lime. He died in a sewer beneath Vienna. As those of you know who saw the movie The Third Man. Yes, that was the end of Harry Lime. But it was not the beginning. Harry Lime had many lives. And I can recount all of them. How do I know? Very simple. Because my name is Harry Lime. A diamond as big as a hen's egg. Change that to a duck's egg. And I held it right here in my hand. Not that I had any idea of keeping it, you understand. I was merely recovering it to return it to its rightful owner. Do I hear hollow laughter? All right. You don't have to take my word for it. Ask Scotland Yard. Get them to show you the files. What do you think I am? A crook?
And now, Orson Welles as Harry Lime, the Third Man, in The Bohemian Star.
London, 1938. One of those quaint old English pubs, you know, with cubicles around the walls. Seated together, a boy and a girl. Not hard to look at either, the girl. Peaches and cream, that wonderful English type. In the next cubicle, a handsome, distinguished-looking American, Harry Lime. Me. Not eavesdropping, of course, just interested. In a casual sort of way.
You mean to say you have to work?
Yes.
But you promised to take me to the picture.
I'm sorry, dear. I didn't know this was going to turn up.
Look, Terry, if it's just that you're broke as usual and can't afford a cinema, let's walk in Hyde Park or feed the pigeons in Trafalgar Square or something. There's no need to spoil our evening altogether.
No, it's not that, Pat. Honestly, I have got a job. The news editor wished it on me just as I was leaving.
What do you have to do?
It's an interview. Some South American Johnny called Senor Alvarez. I've got an appointment with him at the Hotel Splendid at 8:30.
What is it you have to see him about?
Well, ever heard of Bocanovia?
One of those little Balkan states.
That's right. Well, 3 years ago, there was a revolution, and the monarchy was deposed, and what's ironically known as a People's Republic took its place. On the last plane out, some of the royal family escaped to London with the crown jewels, and they've been here in the safe deposit ever since.
What, the royal family?
Oh, fathead, no, the jewels. Incidentally, the pièce de résistance, as they say, is the Bohemian Star.
Oh, I thought that was an opera.
Look, the Bohemian Star is the centerpiece of the scepter. A huge single diamond, almost as big as the Cullinan.
Makes my engagement ring look a bit silly, doesn't it? I always had a suspicion you were getting me on the cheap.
Well, I like cheap. Why, that cost me a week's salary at Hatton Garden.
You better demand an increase at once, darling. Anyway, what does Senor What's-His-Name fit into all this?
Senor Alvarez is a leading jeweler of Buenos Aires. It seems the National Museum of the Argentine wants a replica of the Bocanovian crown jewels for an exhibition of some sort. And so the senor's been sent to take photographs, sketches, you know, measurements and so on. And when he gets home, he'll reproduce the whole collection in paste.
Well, it sounds awfully dull to me. And for that, I have to miss Don Amici.
Well, who cares about him? I have to miss Betty Grable.
There's no justice in the world. Can't you get out of it somehow?
No, I'm sorry, darling. Not a chance.
I've always had an interest in jewels, purely academic, of course, particularly diamonds, particularly big diamonds.
My night was free. I was feeling in a benevolent mood, so I did what anyone might have done. Excuse me. I hope you'll forgive my rudeness, but I couldn't help overhearing your conversation. I thought maybe I could help you out if you'd let me.
Huh?
Perhaps I'd better introduce myself first. My name's Paul Atkinson.
Paul Atkinson? Not the Paul Atkinson of American Associated Press.
Well, I do an occasional stint for the AAP.
Oh, gosh, I read your articles every week. I'm Terry Freeman of the Clarion.
Glad to know you, Terry.
This is my fiancée, Miss Pat Weston.
Hello, Pat.
How do you do?
Won't you sit down?
Oh, thanks. This interview you have to do is sort of spoiling your evening together. I understand.
Oh, just one of those things, you know.
There's nothing we can do about it, I'm afraid.
When do you have to turn your copy in?
10 o'clock tomorrow morning.
10? I'll do better than that. I'll deliver it personally to you at 9 on the dot. Guaranteed.
Oh, I don't follow.
Well, you two kids go off to your movie. I'll interview this guy, Alvarez, and write your story for you.
Yes, but...
Why should you do a thing like that?
Well, why not? I haven't any girlfriends to take out. Pretty poor newspaper man who won't help a colleague when the chance turns up.
No, it's kind of you, but I couldn't dream of imposing on you like that, Mr. Atkinson.
Well, for the record, my friends call me Paul.
Oh.
I assure you it's no imposition. Of course, if you're scared, I won't turn in a story up to standard.
Oh, gosh, look, it's not that. Why, you couldn't write a bad story if you tried, but look, what would my editor say if he found out?
Who's going to tell him, you, or me, or Pat here? Of course, there's another way out.
Oh, what's that?
You go off to your interview, and I'll take Pat to the movies.
Thanks. I wouldn't trust even a newspaper man as far as that.
Okay, then. The Splendid, then. 8:30?
Yes. Look,
forget it, Terry, old man. I'm not doing you a good turn. You're doing one for me. On the dot at 8:30, I pressed the bell to Suite C, 3rd floor, Hotel Splendid. I hadn't figured out any plan of campaign, you understand. This was just a sort of preliminary survey. Smooth South American type introduced himself as Alvarez and invited me in. We drank each other's health, and then we settled down to business.
I am not very accustomed to be interviewed, Senor Freeman. What is the procedure?
Oh, it's easy. It's easy. I ask the questions, and you answer them.
I will do my best.
Well, now, your job is to work out the precise measurements, as I understand it, of the jewels and their settings, so you can make exact replicas for the museum. Is that right?
Partly. But you understand it is much more than a matter of mere measurement.
Oh, yes, I guess it must be.
There is the color of the various jewels, for instance, and some of the settings are of extremely intricate filigree.
Tell me, senor, how did you fix it to gain access to the jewels?
It was necessary for me to make formal application to the Bohemian Royal Court in Exile.
And you found them cooperative?
Well, naturally, one does not expect these favors for nothing.
Oh, yes.
There will be a certain, how shall I put it, financial adjustment.
Yes, I see. Well, how long do you figure the job will take you?
I hope to complete it in a month.
How long have you been on it now?
Just a week.
What's the routine?
The routine?
Well, I dare say there's an armed guard and so on.
Oh, but of course, that is inevitable. The Bohemian Star alone is worth £500,000.
Yes, that's $2 million. Who provides this guard?
The insurance company. There is a room at the safe deposit. And each morning the item I require is taken in there, and I work on it.
Under observation?
Yes. There are 2 detectives who never take their eyes off me or my secretary.
So you're the secretary, too?
Yes, Manuel Arizza. He should be here soon, so perhaps you will meet him.
That's fine. Now, tell me, senor, could it be arranged for me to come along one day and watch you actually at work?
I cannot say as to that.
Make a much better story, you know.
Perhaps so. But it would be a matter for the Bohemian authorities.
Okay. I'll put in an application tomorrow. Will you support it?
Naturally.
Fine, that's settled then. And now I guess...
that must be my secretary now. I am in here, Manuel.
Good, everything is fixed, Pedro. That very obliging gentleman, Senor Meyerson, has finished the paste copy of the Bohemian Star, and I have it with me now. Regardless, my friend, it is not perfect.
Manuel.
Tomorrow, when the right moment comes, I will distract the attention of the detectives, and you will remove the real jewel and slip this one in its place.
Manuel, we have company.
You fool! To talk like that. How was that to know? Who is this man? One of Myerson's?
This is a gentleman named Freeman, a reporter from the Evening Clarion.
A reporter?
Well, thanks very much for the interview, senor. Now, if you don't mind,
What
I think
is your hurry?
Well, I have to go on back to the office.
You can wait a little while. Let me pour you a drink.
Oh, no, thanks very much, man.
I think you...
Sorry, I can't stay.
I think you'd better, senor. This gun is loaded.
Well... Oh. What's the big idea?
You do not think we could let you go after what you've heard, eh?
Well, now, wait a minute. I'm not the sort of guy who goes around shooting off his mouth. I can keep quiet.
It is my intention to see you do keep quiet.
Oh, it is?
There are ways.
Or how?
Such as we could kill you.
Yes, I suppose you could, but you won't.
What makes you so sure?
Well, these walls aren't very soundproof. The shot would be heard.
I have a knife.
Okay, you could kill me with your little knife. Then what?
How do you mean?
Having an odd body lying about the place, that proved to be a little embarrassing, don't you think? You'd never conceal one in here. You couldn't risk getting it out without being caught.
There would be certain difficulties, I admit.
So it looks as though you'll have to trust me after all. Doesn't it? Good night, gentlemen.
One moment, senor. There are other ways.
Oh? What, for instance?
Well, this.
What?
Oh! Manuel, I have told you before, I detest violence.
That should keep him quiet for a little while. You know, I've been thinking, why should a reporter on an English newspaper be an American?
I dare say it does happen.
Yes, perhaps so, but you must admit it is unusual.
What are you looking for in his pockets?
Papers. A letter. There, what did I tell you? It is addressed to Harry Lime.
Harry Lime?
But you know the
But
name?
of course. So does every police department in the world.
You mean?
I mean that compared with him, we are amateurs.
So that's it,
We must do something, Manuel.
I know. I will drive the car to the back entrance, and we will take him down the back stairs.
Like he is now?
Well, why not?
We will be seen.
If we will say he's drunk, then we'll drive him to the country and dispose of him. As he himself would say, take him for a ride.
Don't be foolish. There will be no killing.
But surely...
We are jewel thieves, not murderers. A man like Lime would have powerful friends who would stop at nothing to get even with us. Besides, this is England.
What is that to do with it?
There is an institution here known as Scotland Yard. Extremely efficient, I understand. I have no wish to die with a rope round my neck, even if you have.
Very well. You make a better suggestion.
All right. We steal the Bohemian Star tomorrow, right?
Right.
Tomorrow evening we catch a plane, and next morning we are in New York, where we have many good friends who will look after us, right?
Right.
And then it is quite simple. All we have to do is to keep our friends here quiet for a day and a half. And after that it will not matter how much he talks.
Yes, and how are we going to do that?
That is up to Senor Meyerson. He must find us a quiet place somewhere, and a reliable man to see that Senor Lime does not escape till we are clear. I will telephone him now.
Aha. You are waking up, senor. We are going to take a little journey soon, but I do not think it wise you should appear in public like this. Do you? That's better. Pleasant dreams, senor.
Orson Welles returns in just a moment as the third man. Orson Welles as the third man continues with The Bohemian Star.
It was early morning when I finally came to. My jaw ached where Maritza had clipped me, and I had the great granddaddy of a hangover. Ooh. I lay still for a while, and then took a sort of tentative look around. The room I was in was small, had a sort of shut-in feeling. And then I saw something else. A man. One of the biggest, toughest, ugliest characters I'd ever clapped eyes on. Though, in a way, he looked sort of nice ugly, if you know what I mean. Not the mean type. He stood up when he realized I was awake, and as soon as he spoke, I knew I was right about it.
What's it, chum? Have a good sleep?
Well, you ought to know.
Been slumbering like an innocent babe, you have. Here, how do you feel?
More like something the cat dragged in. There wouldn't be any coffee on that stove, would there?
No. I can fix you up with a nice cup of tea. The kettle will be boiling in a minute.
Oh, that's fine. Say, what's your name?
Charlie.
Mine's Harry.
Pleased to meet you, Harry, I'm sure.
Charlie, old man, where are we?
That'd be telling.
How'd I get here?
Sorry, chum. I ain't allowed to give no information. Strict instructions.
Understand. How's that tea coming along?
Won't be off a tick now.
I slept again afterwards. It was going on for midday when I woke. Charlie had some food ready. After we'd eaten, he suggested a game of cribbage to pass the time. I disapprove of gambling, except maybe poker for real stakes with a few aces up my sleeve. But my only hope was to cultivate Charlie. Thank goodness he was no hothouse flower, so we settled down to play. After about an hour, I judged the time for action was right.
15-2, 15-4, a pair 6, and one for his knob 7. Puts me out. That's a sprat you owe me.
A sprat?
Yeah, a tanner. 6pence.
Oh, well, here you are.
So, your deal.
Oh, sure. Look what I've done. Spilled them all over the floor.
That's all right, chum. I'll pick them up.
Thank you, Charlie.
Oh!
Thank you. One more for luck. Sorry, Charlie, old man. You're a nice guy. I tore up a sheet and bound and gagged Charlie. He had some keys in the pocket. I let myself out. My guess had been right. I was somewhere in the East End. I walked till I found the main road and then called a cab.
Where to, Governor?
Hotel Splendide. I'll double your fare if you get me there in 15 minutes.
Right. Hang on.
There's only one way to tackle this job. The bold approach. At the Splendide, I went straight over to the desk and asked for Senor Alvarez.
Sorry, sir. He's not in at present.
Well, how about his secretary?
Well, he's not in either, sir.
They haven't checked out, have they? They're still staying here.
They leave by plane for New York this evening, I understand, sir. Is there any message?
No, thanks. That's okay. So they hadn't made the snatch yet. I had no idea where the safe deposit was, so all I could do was wait. Found a spot where I could keep out of sight and watch the elevators at the same time. An hour passed. An hour and a half. And then, there they were. As their elevators started to rise, I took the stairs 3 at a time. I reached the 3rd floor just as the door of their suite was closing behind them. I wanted that Bohemian Star. Nothing greedy, you understand, but now or never. Gun in hand, I pressed the bell.
You?
Good afternoon, gentlemen. I wouldn't reach for a gun if I were you, nor you, Oritza. Unless you've a wish to commit suicide, just keep your hands up. Well up. That's much more sensible.
How did you get here?
I got here by cab, if it's of any particular interest. Oh, Charlie. Don't worry about him. He'll get over it. Come on, let's go into the sitting room and have a nice, cozy talk. After you, senor. And you. It's more like it. All right, chums. The Rock.
The Rock?
The diamond, the Bohemian Star.
But you're mistaken, senor. We have not got it, have we, Manuel?
I know. There must be some misunderstanding.
The only misunderstanding has been so far was in you fellows mistaking me for a sucker. Step over here towards me, Oritza.
What, me, senor?
Come on, do as you're told. Now turn your back. Keep those hands well up. Nice, efficient little piece of ironmonger you've got. I'll have that, if you don't mind. No doubt. Okay, you're next, Starvine.
But I assure you, senor, I give you my word of honor.
And what's this? Your word of honor? Quite a hunk of stone, isn't it? You won't mind if I take charge of this, I'm sure.
Senor, let us talk.
What more is there to say?
We made a mistake, Manuel and I. We admit.
Considering I have the stone in this gun, that seems rather obvious, don't you think?
What I mean is that we made a mistake when we met last night, not inviting you to join us in this enterprise.
Oh, what gives you the idea that I might have joined you in this?
Harry Lima, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, but surely our object in this case has been the same, to obtain the Bohemian Star.
Our object, maybe, but not our purpose.
You speak in riddles, senor.
Oh, no, not at all, old man. You stole this jewel for your own enrichment. I've taken it from you now to return it to its rightful owner.
Its rightful owner?
You will pardon us if we smile, senor.
You don't believe me? Okay, sit down, gentlemen. I have a little telephoning to do. Hello? Operator, get me Whitehall, 1212.
That's Scotland Yard.
Sure,
you do not mean that you are going to telephone.
Senor, put down that telephone before it is too late, eh? Let us make a vow.
Hello, is that Scotland Yard?
It's all right, Mr. Lime. You needn't bother with that call.
Now, what's the idea? Who are you guys?
I'm Detective Inspector Marsh, and this is my assistant, Sergeant Andrews.
Well, not so fast. How do I know you two are on the level?
Oh, here's my warrant card.
Oh, glad to know you, Inspector. Well, this all seems annoying. Sorry I sounded suspicious, but, you know, you might have been a couple of crooks, too.
Yes, of course, the point hadn't occurred to me.
It is an outrage. You have made a great mistake, senor.
Well, we'll thrash that out at the yard later. Take him away, Sergeant.
Yes, sir. Come on, you two.
Well, I'm certainly glad you turned up when you did. I can't figure out is how you got in so quietly. My ears don't miss much, and I'll swear I never heard that front door open.
Well, of course you didn't. We've been here all the time.
Here, in this actual room?
Yes, behind those curtains.
Well, I'll be darned.
And what's more, we've a friend of yours. You can come out now, Mr. Freeman.
Hello there.
Why, Terry. I don't get all this.
Oh, it's all quite simply explained. When you didn't turn up this morning, I got a bit worried, so I phoned AAP, and they told me Paul Atkinson was in Malaya. Then I went round to the yard and gave the whole story to Inspector Marsh here.
And you figure there must be some dirty work, huh, Inspector?
Well, it did seem that something odd was going on. Doubly odd when I rang the Argentine embassy and they denied all knowledge of Alvarez and Noritza. So the management let us in here while they were away. We were just about to announce ourselves and find out what was what when the doorbell rang and you came in.
So you figured you'd wait a while and see what happens, is that it?
Exactly.
I say.
What is it?
Just as well I'm not a crook, isn't it? I mean, if I tried to get away with the Bohemian Star instead of fooling the yard, I'd have found myself in a lovely jam, wouldn't I?
Well, I shan't pretend we didn't suspect you for a while, Mr. Lime. But we know now that you're an honest man.
That's all right.
It's not everyone who'd risk his life the way you've done.
Oh, that's okay. Here, I guess you better take this stone, Inspector. I'll be glad to see the last of it.
Oh, thanks. Of course, you realize there'll be a reward.
Oh, no. Please.
But my dear fellow, it's no more than you're entitled to. Don't you agree, Mr. Freeman?
Oh, certainly.
I'll see the matter's taken up with the Bohemian authorities, and you'll hear from them in due course.
Well, if you insist, though. After all, I was only doing my duty. And you know, Terry, I really did intend writing that story for you. I'm sorry I slipped up on it. Hope you didn't get into too much trouble with your news editor.
Well, there was a bit of a row, but that's all right.
Oh, it will be, old man, it will be. Just wait till he sees the story you've got for him now.
Lime returns in just a moment.
And now, Harry Lime.
Right here, maybe I'd better hand in a little explanation. You're wondering what particular stroke of luck or lunacy led your old friend Harry to settle for just the reward, not to try for the diamond itself, at least while the going was good. Well, first of all, it was a very tidy little reward, and secondly, when I first came into that room, I just happened to notice the tip of what was unmistakably the shoe of a policeman sticking out of the curtains. Now, you may think that knowing I wasn't alone with a couple of crooks, that the realization that Scotland Yard was tuned in on our conversation had something to do with my decision to, shall we say, play it straight. That's what you may think. In fact, you'd be silly not to.
Presenting Orson Welles as the Third Man. The Lives of Harry Lime. The fabulous stories of the immortal character originally created in the motion picture The Third Man, with zither music by Anton Kara.
That was the shot that killed Harry Lime. He died in a sewer beneath Vienna. As those of you know who saw the movie The Third Man. Yes, that was the end of Harry Lime. But it was not the beginning. Harry Lime had many lives. And I can recount all of them. How do I know? Very simple. Because my name is Harry Lime. Friends, the story of my marriage. My first marriage. And believe you me, my last. It all began in the funny little city of Beccarata. There isn't much to do there except get married. Principal local occupation, of course, is getting rich. And that's what brought me to Beccarata. It's hidden away, as you probably know, in a remote corner of Saudi Arabia. Mines of black gold oil derricks dot the landscape as far as you can see, and huddled beneath these modern steel skeletons lies a city as old as the East. Curio dealers hawk their wares in the narrow winding streets. Beggars doze in shadowed doorways. Robed Arabs mingle with Europeans in soil whites, and the city drowses with all the indolence of Asia. An ideal place for a murder and a double-crossing oil. Oil to grease the skids of fortune for Harry Lime.
And now, Orson Welles as Harry Lime, the third man in Love Affair.
Bekurata, Saudi Arabia. Harry Lime, that's me. A happy young bachelor strolling along the narrow street that led from the Grand Hotel to the native bazaar.
Oh, noble one, a moment of your time.
I'm sorry, friend.
I am not the beggar, O heaven-born. I am teller of fortune.
Yes, but I'm...
The past, the present, the future. I see all, I tell all.
Very interesting.
Oh, greatest of great lords, may your back never bend.
Thank you.
May your beard never grow white.
Oh, I'll try not to. Thank you.
A little backsheesh, and I read your fortune.
Thanks very much, old man. I'm busy making my fortune. I don't need to have it told.
Show me your palm, noble one. Let me but see the line of your destiny.
Okay, friend, but make it snappy.
Ah, the hand of the wanderer, the seeker. It is difficult to tell your fortune, my lord, because you have no fortune.
Oh?
You have many fortune.
Well, that's nice to hear, old man, but let's get down to cases. When am I going to get rich?
You will always be near to wealth and see many women.
Oh, that's good.
Beautiful women.
Oh, that's better.
Dark women.
I like blondes, too.
But only one wife.
Also redheads. What's that about a wife?
Noble one, you will only be married once.
And once is too much. To put it mildly, I'm afraid you've got your fortunes mixed up.
You will travel, great one, quickly and across many lands. And you travel with a wife.
Okay, now you've had your fun. I'll say goodbye.
Wait, you have not paid me.
Why should I, friend? I'm Harry Lime, but you don't know about me. It'd fill a book, and nobody's going to write it without paying me royalties. So long, old man.
In the same sweet, generous Harry Lime.
Schweig, what are you doing, Bekurata?
Just exactly what you think I'm doing. Checking up on you.
The same sweet, lovable Carl Schweig.
Where can we talk, eh?
Almost anywhere. It's the time for salat. No one will bother us. Go on. Go into this cafe here.
It doesn't look very clean.
It'll answer your needs, don't you think? You follow me?
Well, there doesn't seem to be anyone around.
What do you want, Schweig?
What do I want? I want to know whether you've obtained the oil leases. That is what you're being paid for, isn't it, Mr. Lime?
I'm not too well paid.
Quit toying with me, Harry.
I'm not toying with you. What do you expect? Everything in the city moves by inches. I've made friends here. I'm real chummy with the elephant. I think I've got him in a receptive mood. Actually, I'm sure he doesn't realize how important oil is going to be here in a few years. If I can't force him to sign the minute, things don't work that way.
I know. We have perfect confidence in you.
And why did you come here?
To make sure that our confidence wasn't misplaced.
Oh, I see.
And you think you might be able to settle the matter of the oil leases?
I have an appointment with the elephant late this afternoon. He's out at his summer palace now. It's about 40 miles from the city. When I get back, I'll get in touch with you. You'll be at the Grand Hotel, I guess.
I'll be gone by this afternoon, Harry, but I do have others working for me. I'll know it if you try to double-cross me.
Your government will get the leases, Schweig. Now, about the money.
I brought you a draft to pay for your services to date. Here.
And thank you. Oh, hey, what's this? This hardly covers my hotel bill. My fare getting here. You're trying to...
Your final payment will be waiting for you at the Bank International when you have concluded negotiations.
Well, how will anyone at the bank know when I...
They'll know, Harry. They'll know.
still burning about the size of the check as I left Schweig and headed for the Bank International. I hadn't been surprised to learn that Schweig's government had other agents in Beckerata, but I wondered how it was possible for someone employed by the bank to know when the Elephant had acceded to my requests. As I entered the shabby monument of finance, I searched the bland, inscrutable faces behind the cages, but they told me nothing. Well, I'd come to cash the check, not play charades. I slid the infuriating little piece of engraved paper through the opening of the window of the chief teller, a lovely-looking lad, if you care for the pockmarked, beady-eyed, murderous type. He glanced down at the check and then up at me.
You are Harry Lime?
Yes, I have my credentials.
That won't be necessary. You are already well known in this city.
That's very flattering.
How did you want this, Mr. Lime?
I don't care about the denominations, but I wanted American money.
American money?
Yeah, you see, I'm an American. I'm sentimental about American money.
Very well, Mr. Lime. Here you are, sir. $1, $2, $3, $4, $500.
Thank you.
However, with the current rate of exchange, I might advise you to...
Pardon me, Mr. Lime.
Huh?
I apologize for approaching you on the street, but I must speak to you at once.
Who are you?
My name would not mean anything to you, but I can tell you this. I am no friend of Karl Schweig.
Oh, that's good. Any enemy of Karl Schweig is a friend of mine. What can I do for you?
It is a matter of what I can do for you. To begin with, may I drive you back to your hotel?
I have my own car.
You do not own a car, Mr. Lime, and the Citroën you have rented you did not use today. You left it in the hotel garage to be serviced. You want it in good running order for your trip to the Aladdin Summer Palace later in the day.
Mm-hmm. I'd be delighted to accept a lift back to the hotel. That's your car there?
Yes. Gregory? The car is my own, incidentally. There are some governments that are not as cautious of their purse strings as the employers of your Mr. Schweig. Gregory, we will drive Mr. Lime to the Grand Hotel. Do not hurry.
Oh, man, you know all about my car, my engagement this afternoon, apparently my business here in Beckerata. What more would you like to know?
You do me an injustice, Mr. Lime. I do not seek anything. I wish to give you something. Here.
What do you want kidnapped for this kind of money?
Mr. Lime, we are both here in Beckerata for the same thing. But there are two major differences. You want the oil leases for the country who gave you that check you just cashed at the bank. I want the leases for another power.
Mm-hmm, yes.
You see, you have been successful, and I have not been.
I have no signed agreement.
You will have. Authoritative sources tell me that it has become a personal thing between you and the Aladdin. You have exercised great charm on him. He will sign the leases made out by you to whatever power you select.
Maybe.
I want you to make out the contract for my country.
Well, Schweig's already given me several payments.
Payments? How do they compare with the money you now hold in your hand?
Well, they don't compare, but I can't accept this money. I've already assured Schweig.
Look, Harry Lime, I know you. I know how your mind works. I have worked with men like you for years. Your loyalties belong to the highest bidder. In your hand, you hold the largest price yet offered for your services. When you present the contracts to the Aladdin tomorrow, I am sure they will contain the name of the right country.
A minute later, I was walking toward the bar of the hotel. I wasn't clutching the money the Baron had offered me in my tight little fist anymore. No, it was making a comforting bulge in my wallet. The long mahogany gate to forgetfulness was deserted except for George Harris. George is a sort of glorified tourist guide who sometimes brought parties of American travelers to see the quaint charm of ancient Beckerata. Quaint yet.
I'm not crowding you, am I, Lime?
We're here first, so you couldn't be crowding me.
All right, then you're crowding me, and it's a long bar.
If there's anything silly, though, it's a long bar with one drinker at one end, one at the other. Come on, Harris, break down, have a drink with me.
Lime, it may interest you to know that when I bring tourists here, I give them a little indoctrination lecture.
Oh, that's fair.
And part of it consists of a warning to keep away from a very unsavory American expatriate by the name of Harry Lime.
You think I'm capable of contaminating you and your camera-toting Babbitts?
I don't quite know what you're capable of, but the tourists who can afford to include a side trip to the Orient in their itinerary obviously have money. There's no sense in waving a branch of honeysuckle in front of a bee.
Well, I guess that's my cue to buzz off, Mr. Harris. Don't worry about my trying to get even with you for all the nasty things you said. I'd much rather have my revenge when you're not prepared for it. I wasn't hungry, but I walked into the dining saloon. George Harris followed me. headed for a table festooned with his party of tourists. Usually his party consisted of bicarbonate of soda addicts, fugitives from board of directors meetings, and generously proportioned dowagers enjoying the money their late husbands had worked themselves to death accumulating. But this time, there was a new note. A lovely, fresh-looking girl. She had the sort of innocence that only a Reynolds could have captured, or a Harry Lime. When she got up from the table, I followed her to the piazza. There wasn't a hovering mother, a chaperone, or a tourist guide in sight. I say, you didn't drop your handkerchief.
What?
If you had, I could have picked it up and returned it to you. We could have started talking. I would have offered to show you the city.
I have a guide, thanks.
Yes, I know, but I could show you places George Harris wouldn't dream of taking a 17-year-old girl to.
I'm 19.
Oh, I've been wondering. Now, I've been wondering about a few other things, too, as a matter of fact.
You must be the Harry Lime Mr. Harris was telling us about.
Surely I'm not the only man in Beckerata capable of speculating a bit about a beautiful American girl.
I'm terribly sorry, Mr. Lime, but the others will be coming out from lunch soon, and I mustn't be seen talking to you here in broad daylight.
But it won't be broad daylight forever. Well, then, perhaps we'll meet this evening, Miss...
Perhaps.
The girl was a real looker. But with all the looks, she was pushed to the back of my mind as I got to the summer palace, the Elephant later that afternoon. My rented Citroen was behaving nicely, and I guess I wasn't watching the road too carefully because suddenly the ordinarily deserted strip of pavement became crowded, and I had to pull to a stop. Arabs riding burros crowded about the car. There were some half-castes on foot climbing on the running boards. In front of the car were 3 or 4 Bedouins, pretty fierce-looking customers with old-fashioned muskets slung over their shoulders. Hey, what's all this about? I'm on my way to see your ruler. If I'm detained, you'll be very angry. I say, isn't there somebody here who speaks English?
I speak English, Mr.
Well, you're the chief teller from the Bank International.
That's one of my occupations. Move over, Mr. Lime. We have many things to talk about before you have your meeting with the Alafin.
Orson Welles returns in just a moment as the third man. Orson Welles as the third man continues with Love Affair.
The beady-eyed, pockmarked Arab was sitting next to me on the front seat of my rented Citroen. The near equatorial afternoon was growing cold. The leather of the car's upholstery damp and clammy under my hand. And as the motley crew outside the car crowded close, I made an instinctive gesture toward the bulgy wallet that rested in my inside pocket.
If you're thinking of reaching for a gun, Mr. Lime, I might inform you that these few friends represent only a portion of Mr. Schweig's representatives in Beckerata.
So you're Schweig's man in the bank?
Precisely.
Well, you can relax. I wasn't reaching for a gun.
I have no need to relax, Mr. Lime. But you appear a trifle nervous.
Oh, no, not at all. No.
But perhaps your gesture toward your pocket was only to assure yourself that your wallet was still safe.
What are you getting at?
I saw you get into Mordecai Waring's car outside the bank today. It would not be healthy to go against Mr. Schweig's wishes.
No, I have no intention of doing that. No.
I thought the idea might have occurred.
Oh, no, not for a minute.
If Monsieur Waring's offer was more interesting, don't try it, Mr. Lime. Keep your promise to Schweig. And then get out of town before Valley knows you've completed our arrangements with the Alafin.
I'm not leaving town till I get the balance of the money Schweig owes me. He said he'd be waiting for me at the bank.
And so it will be.
Well, the bank will be closed by the time I leave the Elephant's Palace.
Well, you conclude the negotiations and then meet me at the bar of the hotel.
Okay.
I will have the money waiting for you there.
All right, old man. It's a deal.
And don't try any tricks. If you do, I will know about it before you have finished counting the money.
My meeting with the high potentate of Beccarata was an infuriating ordeal of delay. Somehow or other, the granting of oil rights seemed to be inexorably tied up with native dances and ceremonies and rituals, but the best I could manage was to leave the contracts with him and get in exchange a half promise that he would sign them. I wondered if Schweig's fascinating messenger boy would be content with the arrangements. He was waiting for me there, all right.
I came prepared, but I have been informed that the Alafin did not sign the contracts.
Look, if you know they weren't signed, you also know I made them out the way you wanted them in favor of the Pa Schweigen you represent. My job here is finished. Even if I wanted to stick in Beccarata until the old Dola gets around to signing them, I couldn't. Not with Barron in town. I want the money. I've got it coming to me. Now, do you understand? Now.
I'm not sure Schweig would approve.
You've got the money in your side pocket. I can see the bulge. Now, pull it out and start.
Watch out. Lime. Barron knows.
Dead almost before I reached over into the money from his side pocket. I could hear him topple from his chair as Bannon and a handful of thugs burst into the room through the doorway. Each one of them had shot him. They fired after me as I streaked out of the back door, and I reached the rear of the hotel and jumped into the Citroen. Stepped on the starter, and as the motor caught, I clashed the gears, and the car leaped toward a narrow, tortuous street. I wasn't sure where it led, but already I could hear other cars starting behind me. Natives and animals sprang out of my way as I careened down the winding street. Cars were further away now, but ahead of me, I could see people milling about near a dimly lit cafe. There was a figure in white. Suddenly, I could see there was the girl, the American girl from the hotel. I don't know why, but something made me stop.
Lime, help me.
Oh, jump in.
Get me away from here quickly.
Hold on. Out of the way. Watch out. What were you doing in the native quarters?
George Harris wouldn't take me where I wanted to go, and I wanted to see the places you spoke about this afternoon. So I slipped out of the hotel after dinner, and I went to that native cafe back there. A horrible place. 2 natives came up to my table, and I started to sneak out, and they followed me. Oh, I was never so happy to see anyone in my life.
That's all right, honey. I'll take care of you. You'll be all right. But I can't call you 19 years old, American girl.
Well, my name's Marion Lawrence.
Hello, Mary.
I'm an orphan, and a distant relative of mine died a few months ago and left me a little money. So I quit my job and decided to take a world cruise.
And George Harris?
No, I didn't take one of those planned cruises. I just happened to join the conducted tour to Beccarata last weekend. And I wish I'd never come now.
You better send a wire to Harris, though. He might notify your relatives or someone if you don't show up at the hotel.
Well, there's no one to notify. I have no relatives or friends over here.
Mm-hmm. Have you a passport with you?
No, I haven't.
Well, I know someone near the board who is very talented as an engraver. However, we might obviate a lot of trouble by having him make out your passports with some new names. Say, Mr. and Mrs. Joe Smith of Cleveland, Ohio. That might do for both of us. How's that sound to you?
Sounds real exciting. Like we were spies or espionage agents or something. Perfectly. Marion was enthralled with the excitement and the romance of our adventure. It would take time for Baron and whoever else might be following me to pick up the trail. But by the time we crossed the border, all of that was changed. Marion and I were Mr. and Mrs. Joe Smith of Cleveland, Ohio, USA. Oh, yes, it was working perfectly because, as far as I could tell, Marion was the perfect bride, adoring, starry-eyed, and really in love with me. Because she was in love with me, she asked no embarrassing questions. There was an added feature to it. It had become apparent that her little inheritance wasn't so little at all. Her purse contained a roll of large denomination bills big enough to choke a custom official.
Did I embarrass you, dear, insisting on paying for my own clothes?
Oh, no, you didn't embarrass me at all. But I'm constantly being surprised to find that you can buy Parisian models almost anywhere in the world if you have the money.
Do you think it's safe traveling by car? Don't you think maybe we'd better leave it and take a train, Harry?
I told you to get in the habit of calling me Joe.
Well, sorry.
Why shouldn't I be safe? What are you hinting at?
Oh, nothing. It's just that you told me the car was rented, and I thought...
Oh, stop thinking. Oh, I'm sorry, Marion, old girl. Nerves, I guess. The nerves lasted all that week as we crossed border after border. Beckerata was a long way back now, but I still kept imagining that I saw Varin in crowds as we went through custom offices. I thought I caught a glimpse of Schweig as we ate dinner in a funny little restaurant in Istanbul. Even though I'd seen him die, I could have sworn I saw the pockmarked face of the chief teller at the Bank International as we walked into a railroad office in Bucharest. By the time we'd reached Vienna, I think I'd almost begun to enjoy my role as the somewhat bucolic tourist.
Are you happy, Joe?
Dangerously. The way I feel, I might never want to leave here.
I'd hate to think of what all this rich food would do to my figure if we stayed.
I suppose neither of us ought to order anything more to eat or drink.
Well, it sounds as though there's plenty for all of us.
Harris.
George Harris.
You don't mind if I join you?
You talk like a cop, old man.
I'm with the FBI of the United States. By the way, Harry Lime, I think you might be interested in knowing that the elephant got a little tired of all your intrigue the day after you left. He awarded the oil leases to the U.S.
So then Schweig's after me, too. What charges have you got against me?
Charges? We have no charges against you. It still isn't against the law to be a skunk.
Well, if there are no charges against me,
I've just been hoping the Becurata authorities track down your sweet little bride.
Why? Mary?
I'm sorry, Harry.
The night you picked her up in Becurata, she was fleeing from the hotel, where she just shot and killed her aging husband. You ready to leave, Marion?
Yes.
Just a minute. Marion, I want to get this straight.
It's no use talking, Harry. What he says is true.
You mean that's why you came away with me? You mean I was the sucker you've been using?
No.
Me? Okay, I've been a lot of things in my life. I've even been married now. I've even been a sucker. But that's one that doesn't go in the book. But, George, I don't see how you traced this.
They're the big bills your wife spent on the trip. You see, her doting husband, not you, the one she killed, cashed a large check at the Bank International a few hours before she did away with him. Luckily, the chief teller made a list of the serial numbers. Come on, Marion. Well, goodbye, Lime. By the way, where are you planning to be? We may need you for the trial.
You can always look for me, old man. There's no law against that. Tell you what, I'll give you a little hint. The elephant maybe hasn't signed that oil contract. He may need a little advice after all, so you'll probably find me in Becurata for a while. There's a fortune teller I want to look up. I owe him some money. So long, Marion. Goodbye, old man. May your beard never grow white. May your shadow never grow less.
Harry Lime returns in just a moment. Harry Lime.
Well, friends, it was a short marriage, but a very pleasant one. If you should settle down somewhere and start enjoying easy living, rich food, and fine liquor, don't worry about what it'll do to your figure. Just about the fat it tends to develop between the ears.
Presenting Orson Welles as The Third Man. The Lives of Harry Lime. The fabulous stories of the immortal character, originally created in the motion picture The Third Man, with zither music by Anton Karas.